my own.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sort of Chaos podcast. Let me get into frame here because I'm a bit too tall. Now I'm a bit too short. You know what? I always want guys to kind of look cool, and I never look cool. I'm welcoming today my lovely friend Anna Maria Diku. Dibu.
And hi everyone.
I don't remember have family names. I barely remember mine. It's Miko. Hold on, let me look pretty for you fuckers. See, my girlfriend always brings me these fucking things. Like, can you not look like a fucking bum every time? And I never put them on. There you go, baby. I'm pretty as hell.
Cute.
So, what's up, people? Today, I invited Anna here because I think you'll find out about her. I'm sure she'll tell us about her. But I think she's a nice blend, as is my girl, if she would like to join me for a podcast eventually. A nice blend between being feminine and also being a woman who takes no shit. No, I don't mean that. An elegant woman. But in order to balance both worlds, you got to learn to say no. That's why I say she is. It's that thing where they say you're defined more by the no's you say in your life than the yes, not being.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. So welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. And let's get rolling.
Let's get rolling. I'm going to get rolling. I already rolled mine. I'm going to need you to get up and intimate with this.
Thank you.
Can you... Is this uncomfortable?
Good? That's fine.
I don't want you to be crisp. Hold on. It's better if you just put it like this. Technical issues, people. If we don't have Paul here, everything goes to shit, and he knows that. Tell me a bit about yourself. I met Anna through a friend, and it doesn't take long for you to figure out that she's a cool person, and that's what I want to that's what I want to insist here, bringing friends and people I meet that fascinate me and see what they're made of. Maybe I discover something, right? Tell the people about what you do, first of all.
Like a short CV?
Like a short CV, like you're interviewed.
So,
there's no couch, but
briefly, I studied political science in French, and then I did my master's, 2 masters, but my favorite one is in conflict analysis and resolution in international relations, and that led me to working for one of our country's institution. I'm not making any advertising, so won't say the name.
Okay, so you don't want to share?
No.
Oof.
But it was fun. It was challenging. It was a very masculine environment, and it shaped me, I would say, very nicely into what I am today.
I'm sure it had a lot to do with it, but I wish you could share more context. But you're such a fascinating mix of you had that background, which is it's a very interesting background. Maybe she'll able to talk about it one day. She'll be able to. But you also have embassy work, right?
Yes, I've been working with especially the French embassy and a little bit of UK embassy or officials from there, like the UK, Romanian British Chamber of Commerce. And some others, as well as the Monaco British Chamber of Commerce and the French Institute, which at some point supported me to going to this summer school in Hungary. I've done quite a lot of stuff. I've been trained in trading, like currency trading. I've been working for a little bit in that. But my favorite part is what I'm doing now. I'm also very creative.
Yeah,
so together with my boyfriend's company,
with your boyfriend, okay.
With my boyfriend.
You're not doing it with this company. Through my
boyfriend. I'm becoming a life coach, and but as of now, I'm dealing more with business diplomacy and manners, and I'm having some programs on that, and I'm writing some books. Some of them are published, some of them are still waiting for the right time and marketing.
So basically somebody who, didn't waste her time as opposed to me. No, we all have to search for something we love, right? And you seem to have found it. You know French fluently too, right?
Yeah, I speak fluent French. I speak Italian. I speak English, obviously. I know Spanish. I speak better Portuguese in Spanish, and
Isn't that the one that's like in Brazil spoken too?
yes,
Oh shit,
yes,
that's the
in
ugly one.
Portugal. Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah, I mean they
Uh,
have a lot of
and
Yeah,
then
but like, are you fluent in what?
I would say Portuguese and French and English and Italian.
Shit, dude. Like obviously, embassy work and that go hand in hand. Listen, people. No matter how many languages you know, when it gets down and dirty with your loved one, the dirty stuff you say in Romanian. That's how it's. That's when it sounds more. Except if you don't have somebody who understands Romanian.
Well, I would say that French sounds pretty damn sexy. So
Yeah, but I mean, in the heat of passion. Let's not go there. Well, I'm sure we have time for that too. But tell me. Tell me your life, man. Tell me, I know these are crazy times and it's kind of like, but tell me, how did you come to be like, why do you want to be a woman's coach? This is the part why I think you have potential and why I wanted to, this perspective of yours. Okay, stop thanking me. I give a little bit of compliment. I'm going to make you regret it afterwards too. I say some bad stuff. Go ahead. Tell me, please. I'm actually curious.
So I've been raised by my mother as a very powerful, independent, and strong woman. That's how I've been shaped. And
Was your father not around?
he was around, but he was more on the supervising level. My mother was the one that was very following everything in detail. And for example, the French happened because when I turned 4, my mom was like, "You can read now, so now it's time to learn a new language." And she was like, "You're going to learn French." And then I went to dance classes and piano classes and painting. So
She wanted to make a lady out of you.
Yes, she wanted. I'm not sure if she managed, but
I'm sure she
tried
succeeded.
really hard. So as I was saying, she always was like, you need to be independent and strong. It doesn't matter if you're beautiful. You need to be on your own 2 feet.
I love that.
Never depend on somebody. Me too. Now.
To a point, you can balance in the other direction, but I'm sure you dealt with all the
Yeah.
walls
And it's
until
very common in our society to see people going above this line, like going to the extremes. But we'll get into that
it's a
later.
pendulum. I think everybody has his own pendulum, and if you're lucky enough, you can bring it to the center. But if you're not, you can drift away. You managed. It's okay.
Thank you.
And I'm sure we still have time to chisel ourselves in many other categories.
Of course.
What if you were to say, everybody leans towards one or the other, if they're lucky, daddy issues or mommy issues?
For me?
Yeah.
Definitely daddy issues.
Daddy issues.
Definitely.
That's good. I think, or maybe, I don't know. Depends your dynamic. Why do you say daddy issues?
Because my cousin, so I had this really close cousin, and her father was super close to her and super affectionate and would give her advice. And my dream was for my father to be the same for me, like give me the advice and be there and make me.
No, but you had to earn his attention, right? I had to earn my dad's attention. Don't worry. So
Okay.
So
Fair
maybe the first comment was right. Like, what was it? What a cute lady and Ana Maria. Hey, what's up, Mate? Suck a dick. I love you, bro.
So why daddy issues? Because I wanted those advices, and I wanted him to make me, because I was surrounded by women who were unhappy with their man or wanted a better relationship, and I thought that if I would have a man guiding me through relationships with men, I would be more of a smart woman.
You might be, but that doesn't mean you can acquire those skills yourself or despite of somebody.
Yes, but that would have made it easier, I would say. So
you are the product of what happened to you, so you don't know that. You should be grateful. I'm sure it would have. I do. I always say that I don't really do. This is something I have to work on. I don't really do things for myself. I rather. Past quote myself, I rather I either make a bitch proud or make it I have to prove a bitch wrong. That's the two fucking like I have to do. And it's not just bitch as a woman. I wouldn't call a woman just a bitch. I mean, like anything that kind of like challenges me, like you can't do that, I have to do it despite of that.
Yes.
I was talking about this with Mark last week too. Like it's a little bit of a I get complacent if I'm not challenged. So maybe for me, my dad, he wasn't absent or anything.
Mhm.
But he was, like you said, you know, how dads, a lot of dads are like this. Like they oversee the situation and they kind of like, I feel like a lot of things I did to prove him wrong, and it made me a better man. So he taught me some lessons, but I also did things despite of him.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I mean, I do agree with you. I mean, don't get me wrong. My father was always making sure we have everything we want and everything we needed in the house. And like when there were people around, he was saying how proud he is and everything. So he was noticing stuff, but when it was just between the four of us, because it's a family of four, he wasn't there as much as I wanted with the advice and everything.
was he with your sister?
No, I
At
think
least he was fair in that regard.
I think he loved her a little bit more
I knew it.
because he.
I knew you thought that.
I mean, I'm not saying it is like that, but it definitely felt like that.
Sometimes.
She was. He would take her everywhere with him while she was little. She was daddy's boy. That's what he said. So he would always carry her around.
Is she older than you?
She's younger than me.
She's younger.
Yeah.
So she was the little.
Yeah, the little baby in the
little
house.
baby.
So everybody was like. So I was 4 when she showed up in the family.
And you're
And,
like, you're gone, sister.
Yeah, I'm like, I was the center of the attention. Everybody was there, like giving me all the attention and the love and everything. And then somebody else showed up, and I was like, wait a minute,
I gotta share.
I'm the first here. So
Well, my girl, Luana, she's from a family of 3. And I guess I didn't experience, I have a stepbrother, but he's more like a cousin to me because the age gap is very different. But it's interesting when you have to split.
Yeah.
But I think at a certain point you have to desensitize, or you'll be desensitized. Come on, fucker, you can do this. To that, because my girl has 2 brothers, so there were 3. And at a certain point, let's take it to extreme. Let's say you have 12. You don't have enough time, nor do they expect you to have enough time to be like micromanaging everybody. So the bigger you get, I guess 2 is just low enough for you to be insecure about, like, because if it's 3, it's like obviously they love all 3 of us, or 4 or 5, right? Because they fucking try to keep us alive.
Yeah. But for me, the disappointment with my sister came before she was born, everybody was like, you're going to have a sister and she's going to play with you. And I was like super excited. I couldn't wait for her to show up. And I went to the hospital and I was like,
you have that memory from 4 years old?
Get
the fuck out of
see
Kansas.
her, like I see the bed where she was. And I remember asking, like, she's not moving. Like,
Is it
why
flammable?
And they're like, yeah, she's too little now. And I was so disappointed that she wouldn't play with me right then.
Oh, so you were like, you weren't jealous? You were
No. I was just disappointed.
Like, all right. Babies will do that to you regardless if they're sisters or yours. I heard. At least that's what my mom says.
But I love her. If she's seeing this, I love you.
Of course you love her. But who does your dad love? Who do you feel like your mom was like you got your mom and like more attention from your mom, or was your mom more like strict with the both of you?
My mom was very
Not
good in
strict.
sharing equally her efforts and attention. And for example, she says that every time I was coming from kindergarten, I was like, well, now I want us 2 to stay and talk as ladies. And she was like, but your sister is crying in the house. And I was like, no, I want my few minutes with you so we can talk. And she would stay outside with me and she would have the talk with me, and then she would go and take care of my sister.
Nice.
So she would
that would teach you to prioritize like what's important, right?
Yeah, so she did a great job in splitting her efforts.
Yeah, it was a stupid question on my side, because obviously a woman who would invest so much time in like chiseling you and kind of like making sure that you're a woman of society, of multiple tools, right? Because that's the best you can do for your kid. Make sure he has the tools, right?
Yeah.
A woman like that wouldn't be like, okay, this not the second kid. A woman like that would be fair. But I guess maybe dads, their time being limited and them needing some sort of like having some sort of outside extenuated effort to keep everything in balance. Maybe he had to,
Yeah, and I don't understand why it's more difficult for men in general to create a relation with their kids, because, they... the difference is that a woman has already the connection with her children from like being pregnant and then giving birth and having the first few moments where the child is dependent and everything.
Yeah,
So
I
would
think those
say-
are the bonding moments, because I
Yes.
heard there are women who like they confess that they didn't feel much when they were just birthed, but ulteriorly the having, I guess, this like creature that depends on you.
Yeah.
Creates the bond.
So I would say that that's why the women have more of a strong relationship with their kids, because they have this advantage.
Well, advantage, but this
Well,
I'm
advantage
sure she
sounds-
sacrifices a lot for those.
Yes, I'm sure.
And
they-
some, yeah, a lot of moms try to keep a lot of things in check. So
but
let's give it up
leaving
to moms too.
aside,
What?
Leaving moms aside.
Yeah, living moms aside. So yeah, you were this. I'm gonna ask random questions.
Okay.
I didn't really, but I guess the answer will be till the end clear why you wanted to start to be a coach, because we deviated from that, and it's gonna happen a lot, folks. Welcome to the show, Sort of Chaos.
So she rose me the way I just presented, and what happened is that I kept seeing, as I was growing up, I've seen women saying, "Oh, we don't have a chance. Oh, we can't do this or that," and I was like, "Yes, you can. I've been raised in a way that showed me you can." Raised, yes. And so I feel that a lot of women, maybe because of a misfortune, they didn't get the education that I was so fortunate to get, and they don't know that reality exists.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
they would need someone to show them that there are other ways than
You think there's a
classic.
market for this too? I think there's a need, especially for women.
I would say so, yes.
I mean, people need guidance nowadays anyway, but especially women. They don't have this much role models. Of course they do. I'm not here bullshitting, but I mean there's a market there. There's space, right?
Speaking of role models, I would say they're very niched role models. So if you want to be
well said.
If you want to be the successful politician, you have, let's say, Angela Merkel. If you want to be a successful activist, go and look at, I don't know, the Duchess Catherine from UK, or go and look at Angelina Jolie. Why not? Because she has a lot of activity, especially in Africa, if I'm not mistaken. So there are some areas where they have specific and very niche role models, but not like a full, complete woman. That's hard to get.
I don't think a complete woman is when what's a woman? Is it when she's ready to give birth? Is a woman? You know what I mean? When are you turned into a woman?
Well,
in your opinion,
that's a very difficult question. I would say that becoming a woman depends on your life experience and your background and the environment you're in, and also it comes with your decision to stop waiting for things to just come to you as a child and assume a role that's nurturing, that's also caring toward people around you, toward yourself.
Yeah, but you gotta you gotta go through life to get to that point.
Of course. And you're not becoming a woman at 20 or at 22. And I would say that not even at 30.
Remember when you were 20 and you heard that and you were so pissed? Because I was. I think about these things. Why can't I? Because you state them, even if you instinctively thought about them, you didn't hit yourself and across the walls of all these little issues you encounter.
And for me, it was even more frustrating because I just got into the Parliament of Romania. I was there half a year with the Chamber of Deputies and half a year.
This was when you were 20?
Yes.
All right.
And half a year for the Senate of Romania. And so what happened there, every time I wanted to do something or learn something or participate into something, they're like, first of all, you're too little. Second of all, you're a woman. Some people would say that. And you need to grow and learn more. And I'm like, how am I going to do this if you're not
Who said you're a woman in your face?
Other women.
Oh, fuck. See, this is why people my fans and a lot of the girls in the US, when I did that Men React to Be a Lady, they said, I criticized the way that clip, that campaign, if you saw it, was indulgent to women, kind of like, I never disconsidered the actual things you have to go through. I'm saying we should complain less because there are people far worse. That's why I had an issue with that. I wasn't devalidating the issues that happen to women, right? Your challenge in life, as is a lot of strong, independent women, is to lose control. You're a control freak.
Yes, I am. And I used to be even worse than I am right now. But, I'm slowly starting to let go, but very slowly, but it's happening. Because I was surprised that some of the best things that came to me
Was
were,
when losing control.
yes, and they were coming from unexpected sources and in unexpected ways. So,
Contrast, right? You didn't
Yes.
experience, or how our friends would say, tension, right? I call it contrast.
yeah,
You
the
need
attention
that.
is super important, and that's where growth comes from. Let's say just so if you look even in nature, you'll see that for a little baby animal to be able to mature, it needs to start walking, and that's a very challenging,
Yeah, those are general tips. But I think there's two types of psychology. Like, you're instinctively like me. And it has to do with sex too. But in this case, I don't think it does, because everybody can experience this. You saw yourself through a path, being raised by possibilities and good parents who gave a
Mhm.
shit. So you had to make them proud to a point.
Oh yes,
But then you had to figure out, for me, then I had to figure out that I need to see what the fuck I'm made of.
yes, and that was the most challenging moment in my life, because like this is so contrasting with what they want. It's very different. So.
That's good. I'm sure you grew because of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that what they dreamed of me becoming wasn't a bad thing, because what parent that invested that much wants his or her child to not grow into a beautiful, well-functioning adult? But it was not my dream. It was not what I really wanted.
That's
So-
good. It's I think at a certain point, it's like with relationships to be becoming detached, right? Like you don't have to, when you go out on a date, you have to not expect anything,
Yes, because you'll be so
but be ready
disappointed.
to fuck. But like, you know what I mean? Like this too. Like at first you kind of crave, as a person like this, you need to crave. I was a control freak too, and I still am in some regards, but crave that attention, and then you finally let go when you feel like you have a path.
Mhm.
And maybe there'll be a disconnect, but once your parents finally see that you came into your own, even if it wasn't exactly what they foresaw, right, for you,
Mhm.
that's when even your bond between your parents and yourself becomes even more stronger, right?
Yes,
You
and
proved yourself, you proved yourself to yourself, you proved yourself to them.
Mhm.
Although you didn't care that, I don't know if that was dynamic, but for me, they had to be, because I did 2 finance masters, and then I started telling shit jokes on the internet. So maybe my parents were more justified to be worried, and rightfully so. But I'm sure everybody from this typology. This is where I wanted to get. But there are also people with the other typology, right? Chaos people.
oh yes, and I have examples that are very close to me that
Yeah.
were raised in a chaotic environment and have dealt through their life with such.
Yeah, but those
environments.
people know how to enjoy life.
Oh yes, they do.
Oh fuck! They drink it up and smoke it up. I'm not even sure what the fuck I am made of, because I'm made of so much chaos too. But those people's challenge is to go towards order. You know what I mean? So you
Yes.
can't universally say you need to you need to search for the contrast in respect to what the fuck you're made of, right?
Yeah, and you need to go and try and be curious and explore and experience, because that's how you find out who you are. And I've personally been asked by a lot of people, like, how do I know what I like? I'm like, you just go and try. You cannot know unless you go and try and experience as much as you can.
Here's the problem. Chaos people,
Try too much.
no, chaos people don't. Order people think they know the fucking answer to life, and chaos people think they just enjoy it. It doesn't need thinking, right?
Mhm.
These are the extremes. Of course, we're all made of both, right? But the challenge for a chaos person, and I want to get to the feminine side, because we're all chaos and we're all misinformed nowadays and guided badly, since we were the 16-year-old kid I've been talking about, on the couch shuffling through the TV or YouTube. That influences us too. But as women, chaos, and this is where the girls who follow me, you girls know, I am also a misogynist, but I'm also a feminist. It's I am both, right? The women, the constant "you're great" said to women nowadays, I feel that creates more chaos into already chaotic beings, right? Not that women can't be the order, right? But they tend to be the chaos. And having no term of rapport, you fucked up, you're great. You did good,
You're great.
you're super great. You didn't try, it's okay. Adele, right? She's great, she's chubby, great. You're great. She lost weight the right way. You saw that shit?
Yeah. Oh my God, she's unrecognizable.
Like, yeah, but like girls got offended. Like girls who used to say you're great,
Yeah. Now
there
they're
was
like,
this huge backlash at her for like, why did you conform and why? It's like,
Yeah.
I thought she was great no matter what the fuck she did back then.
yeah, and just
Like,
be supportive.
I said I come on the weight thing because it's the most. It's a lot of subtle things that happen in society, and I'll let you speak. I'm sorry,
Sure, no
but
worries.
but the weight is more obvious because that's no matter of the perspective you're with, you can be a chubby person, and as long as you don't get mad at men who take care of themselves because they don't look at you, because if you, as long as you have somebody who loves you or whatever the fuck they can, then that's cool. But no matter what you're saying, having less weight is healthier than not having it. And
Yes.
that you can go to the extreme of being too skinny. You're getting there, Anna. Put some meat on your bones.
No.
Dave's a big man; he can lift. Yeah. Until okay, you say some stuff.
Well,
Say
you've said so many things, but
about people.
I would say that the biggest problem, in my opinion, is not men saying things about women. It's about women being mean to other women, and I think that's.
I disagree with that.
Why?
I say mean because of the sake of being mean is one thing, but I don't agree with women just telling themselves they're great all the time.
Oh, no. We need to be told the truth,
You
right?
talk about the venomy bitchy part of
Yes,
it, right?
when they're vicious and they say, as
Oh,
you
men
said,
are vicious too.
I
Like,
know you are.
in our
but,
own way.
But in a sense, for you, it's in the moment and it goes away. For us, it's there and it stays all our life.
Why do you say that?
Because of that, because that's what I experienced with other women. And if they decided that they are not going to like me that much, they stayed into that decision. And right now it doesn't matter, but back then I was in the point where I wanted everybody to like me. So
Hey, we all been through that. I was that person too. I'm
Oh.
not ashamed to fucking say it. And it was before all this. When I started all this, I stopped giving a shit. But
I think it's very very shaping having this experience doing this.
there's pressure on men too. I know you know that. I know you know that. I know we're not arguing here, but I don't think it goes away. I counter argue that with the fact that as men, we're always in war. You can be buddies or whatever, and we can say stuff more clear to each other, but I don't think that's a woman thing where yes, you go at each other's throats, but men go. They go in petty ways. You girls don't want another woman to steal your fucking man. We don't want another man to steal your fucking girl. We have different strategies because the dynamic is different as men, right? There's what is it? An average of one guy gets 2 women and the other guy gets 0.
Yeah, or something.
Right.
I think it's 4-1 actually.
Doesn't matter. So loneliness, desperation is not even pissing out those people who can, because maybe they didn't have possibility, maybe they didn't have the face or the confidence to use the face, to realize the face doesn't matter that much, right? But what the fuck was I was saying?
We were talking about women being told that they are great all the time,
Right.
no matter what.
Right. So
And that's
ahead.
not healthy for anybody. It starts in the
no,
childhood.
no,
and
no, it's not.
Like nowadays, children, they're great no matter what.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Exactly.
very...
But that's been going on for 10 years, right?
Yeah, kind of. Even or around 10 years, more or
It
less.
came exaggerated in the last 10 years.
Yes. That's not healthy for those children. They would never have, a point of reference to what's good, what's not, and that's bad for their mental health.
And they
'Cause-
train you, yeah. Like those experiences with your parents. Like they dictate how you most likely will act, right?
Mhm.
That's why there's kids who came from extreme poverty, and those do better than people who are balanced. How do you explain that?
Because they've been working really hard to get through that, and they achieved the motivation, and they earned...
They were born in with a reason to get the fuck out of there.
Yes. Whereas if you're born in comfort, I would say that also it shows a lot like what kind of person you are if you're growing also from a lot of comfort, because there are people that are born in very rich families and they continue to be this lazy people and never doing anything.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, we have the ones that are born rich and then they work with that to
Yeah.
become themselves independent and even more.
Yeah, I was in a
prosperous.
similar situation. I was in both because I experienced this contrast of being poor when we were real poor when we were younger, and then my parents messed mine. It's not rich with a big R. It was comfortable for Romania, so it wasn't.
Which is hard to achieve. I mean, it's not easy in Romania.
It
wasn't.
is super hard to achieve, and my parents like gave their health for that shit, so I never took it for granted. But yeah, there was a few years where I did waste because I didn't have no guidance. You know what I mean? I tried. I got a job in a corporation, where the fuck, and I kind of took the steps I thought I was supposed to, but in the end, I tried to like. There was this question. I know I talked about this last week too, but it was this question about me taking over my dad's company, and I was like, I have to start my own. Well, with the camera. I'm like, yeah, with the camera. Did you never touch before? You never touched before, so I had to take that step to. And I came from. I could have taken the company and be comfortable, but there's 4 types of people. I guess you can have a few opportunities and take them, a few opportunities and not take them, no opportunities and no chance, or no opportunities and chance and you go get it tenfold, because you're fucking after
I would say that, and this may sound odd or weird for so many people, but I think chance is right in front of you if you're willing to see it and get in alignment with wanting a better future. Because then again, the people that have low chances and then they stay there in those low chances and are never taking one, is that because they think that that's all the universe and the world has to offer, so they stay in that and they don't even dare to.
Yeah, but they have no perspective. There was this Joe Rogan podcast he did with a couple of days ago with Kevin Hart. He was talking about the same thing, how like the lack of knowing how things you see it on TV. You see successful people. You come from nothing. You don't have this information or the possibility to know that could be you.
Well, yes, but
listen, I'll let you speak. We can't all be successful.
Yes.
So if we were to make a guide, somebody, my dad used to say this, and he didn't say it degradingly, but somebody has to wash the toilets too. That's a fact. So not people can make it, and some people don't have a chance. I was going back to the village I grew up in, like an actual village. Those people have no chance. They used to have agriculture. I'll let you speak. They used to have agriculture that was sold to now out externalized to like Germany, whatever those lands are sold. So they have no compass, no nothing, no chance. I like I like people who seek for self-help, but I want this message, and this is what I like about you. You get in deep when you talk to people, and I saw that from your previous talks with people. I don't like this generalized self-help where you could do it. Yes, you could do it, but it takes fucking blood and like sweat and shit, right?
And some people, as you said, they need their guidance, and that's why there are so many books and coaches and programs that can help you.
I think, especially in Eastern European countries, that's a bit like frowned upon because they're not open to that shit.
Yeah, it's such a shame because I've been witnessing people, not from here, obviously, because they're not necessarily into trying that, but the ones that did, I see them growing in an instant, like even through the program, not at the end of it.
I used to be a skeptic. I totally agree now. And it's not because of me, but I saw, of course.
So, but I would still go and, in a sense, kind of contradict you. And I would say that
Tell me.
I had this colleague in university. He was coming from a very poor family from the countryside. His parents were retired because they were very sick, and so they have very little money. So this guy really struggled and really worked hard. And what happened is that he finished university like greatly, and then he became like a high position into a corporation, and he keeps switching corporations nowadays, and he's having like a ton of money. So you can do it.
But I'm saying we're cool. I'm not saying I wouldn't. It's crazy. Like my parents started from scratch. I in some ways started from scratch. It doesn't. I'm just saying, not everybody can do it.
Yes, I agree. Again, this is how the world works, right?
Yeah, it is a hierarchy.
So, but it's every day it is your choice. Even if you're poor and you have low chances, look around. There are options. There are things you can see and get dialed.
Yes. Yes, I agree. So no matter what your situation is, you can improve it by 1%.
Yes, I'm not saying become from like $0 to 1 million in an instant, even though sometimes it can.
Yeah.
If you take the right chances, but
Or you have the right opportunity.
Or
the guy who's but it's you can always make it better. That's the point, and then it might accelerate itself if you keep like banging away and just grinding away. I can attest to that, and I'm sure a lot of people like you. And then you want to do it more.
Yes, obviously, because you get a taste of it. It's
Yes.
like sharks and blood.
And you get confidence in yourself too, right? Then you validate yourself. Then you tenfold that.
Especially if you're coming from a very, unfortunate background, your self-confidence and your self-worth and self-trust, why not? They all grow as you evolve. And it's wonderful.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. But yeah, you can work at it, guys. Like you you can have advantages, but you can still do better, right? Girls who have like huge tits. I'm gonna exclude. I'm not even gonna watch that because it has nothing to do with it. But girls who have huge tits, and then they kind of like. There's girls who have huge tits and they cover them up, and they're still gonna be there, but they cover them up. And there's girls who lean into that, and they'll complain that their life is not good, and it's probably not good. But they think their tits define their either lack of success or success when they're just an arsenal. The fact is that the same person with those smaller tits, probably you would have gotten less looks. But just because you don't have those huge tits doesn't mean that you can work with what you have strictly at a attraction level, and it can expand to like everything, including non-material stuff. But at that level, you have other qualities. Men like tits of all colors. So ladies, don't put that pressure on yourselves. And big titted girls, please admit that you have some advantages. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as you make people aware that there was a shitload of disadvantages. And I'm equating tits to pretty faces too, because girls with pretty faces, and I have two by my right here, they deal with they had some advantages with that face and a ton of fucking, like she said, because you're a fucking woman. That's why she can be right. So I'm kind of I have an atheist attitude, and sometimes my audience, especially as they were growing up, now they're like 22, 23, they're grown up kids, but they tend to go towards that misogynistic, and I tended to, because I just pointed out the shit women do, but it doesn't mean like we.
And I think it's not entirely your fault or this generation's fault. Is where is the environment they grew in, and it's what they see every day. So if you grow and all men say, oh, women are like this or like that, it's hard to decide for yourself, like, is it like this, or question it, because you take it as a given, right? I'm not saying it's fine. I'm just saying that it happens, and it happens for a reason.
I agree. What about sexuality?
What about sexuality?
My girlfriend just pointed at the TV like this. Let's talk about sex. Yeah. She's like, okay, I can do the talking, and you
fun.
can be like, he's wrong. What does it take to be a control freak? What do you need to lose control? And I'll expand, and then I'll let you do it. I'm the belief, and people who know me know that I'm the belief, as a man too, but as a woman, you have your own course, proving daddy wrong, or mommy, if that was the person, the shitty one in the family, the person then kind of like whoring, which we do too, but it's more not frowned upon. That's bullshit, right? We're all the whore at a certain point. You gotta not give a fuck what society says, what mommy says, and that doesn't have to do just with the career. You have to like let go of yourself, like bathe a bit in the depravity, but keep it in check. Dark side to keep in check, right? But you have to hit yourself from that, and then as a woman, then you kind of start to discern through this sea of dicks and lies, because I think the modern woman is the most lied to woman of all beings that ever existed, because men think that's the only solution to like conjure this bullshit where you can just be yourself, and it works if you. But where I was getting at is, after you hit those strides and you're the whore and you're the independent one and you're the control freak, after you saw all flavors, then you can kind of make an assessment on yourself and see what's good for you, right? I feel that's not taught enough nowadays.
No, it isn't. And
it has to do with sex too.
Yeah, definitely. It all has to do with sex eventually.
Yeah, of course. I wasn't trying to generalize, but yeah.
So what's
the point? I
don't know.
What's the
question?
It's sort of chaos.
So, in my opinion, I would say that it's, as you said, you were saying something about the women being lied to and gotten to through lies. And I would say that in most cases is right, but also women are a bit more naive these days. Not all of them, but a big portion of them are more naive, and they want to be fooled. They want the story. They want the charm part.
Yeah, because they see it in fucking social media.
Yes, and also all the magazines, like, again, no advertising, but all the flashy magazines are like, oh, your Prince Charming will come and he'll be like this and like that. And men who are lying are doing exactly that. And they're like, oh my God, it is him. And we choose deliberately and intentionally to not look at all the red flags because we want so bad at story. But I would say that this is more common in women that are insecure. Because if you know who you are...
What woman is not insecure?
Well, we all have our degree, men or women, of insecurity, right?
Of course.
But the lower it is, the more you know who you are, what you're kind of bringing to the table. So, like, you can be okay without a story. You don't want the story anymore. You want the man. You want the person. So you're not kind of chasing it. You're just wanting for it to come at some point. And when it comes, it's great if it comes.
I agree. But at a certain point, there's no sure thing. Not even a fucking wedding ring. No. So the act of you women truly like trying to... as a younger person, I attracted girls who couldn't be by themselves for 5 fucking minutes. And I'm not talking about naggy or whatever. And I think that's important in relation to what Anna said. Like, if you're okay with being by yourself, I call this I just got my apartment thing. Like, no matter if you share a room or whatever, you had boyfriends you lived in, and it just don't switch as girls from one boyfriend to another. Take a break, rent an apartment if you have the luxury, masturbate for fucking 2 months. Get a magic wand. They're the shit. This is not a joke. Like, also masturbate a lot. And
even in the relationship, it's important to do that.
Of course. Well, we can get in that too. But to the thing that men are slaves to their dicks and women are slaves to their pussies. But see how you feel if you're just a depraved being to yourself. And then after, we men can call it after your balls are empty, right? Then and then you be alone, force that, because the instinct is after you come, you get lonely. It's normal, right? Girls who can't stay alone, not only that they not learn the lesson that no matter if this person who I believe is a sweetie right now, maybe he turns into a monster in 10 years. I have the power I'm okay alone. I've been alone. And I was fine for 2 months. I was doing gym. Of course, kids and shit and age and gets involved. But still, that lesson... being within yourself, knowing that not just I know girls who just passed from a boyfriend to another,
and that's so toxic.
It is,
and it's crucial to be comfortable just with yourself. I would say that's one of the most important things men and women should learn. Even though it's easier for men, you kind of like being alone. Most men, but
a bit sometimes we're more fucking disgusting. So in those times we like to. Maybe that's a problem. Maybe we should share some of that disgustingness, and maybe then we'll be finer. But yeah, we do need more of your time.
But I would say that it's super important, as you're saying, to give yourself the time to know who you are, what you need, what you want, and knowing that you can provide all of that for yourself. And when you're getting in a relationship, you're not getting in it to get something. You're getting that relationship because you like the man and you
Yeah.
think that you together can do something, not give and receive something all the time. Even though in the end you do that in a relationship, but that's not the main reason why you get there. Is that you see someone that clicks with you and you go there with no expectations.
I like that. That should be it. But girls who can't stay alone for a second when they're young, I guess that lesson will be learned one way or another. They don't have that. They jump. They don't allow themselves to see how they can feel by themselves. They define themselves from an insecurity from with the person there, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as you feel like you make a team eventually. But
Yeah, but no, you still need that time alone. I was doing that as you say, when we're younger, we tend to do that, and I did that, and it was horrible because I didn't know who I was alone by myself. So once it happened, it was a shock. Obviously, like, oh my god, I'm alone, and then I was like starting to enjoy it and enjoy myself and my time and my routine and what I was doing with myself. And it's such a big, beautiful period of growth. Learning to be alone,
essential,
being alone.
fucking essential, girls.
Yeah.
So don't neglect it. You can believe, can define yourself. You can believe in the beginning you love the person you have sex with or whatever. Like you can imagine that, but after a few men and you still keep repeating that pattern, take a break. See what you're fucking made of.
And also, even in the couple, it's super important to have time apart.
Oh, amen.
It's super important to get those, separate activities, separate time, maybe a date, a weekend, a week, whatever. Just take some time apart. Do
now,
your
fellas,
thing.
Anna's right. Like I've been, I've had a few relationships like for a longer time, and you have to encourage your girl to get a hobby, dude. I'm fucking not like it can't be just. She'll better be defined as a woman if she gets a hobby that she can be proud of or find. Don't let a woman lose her curiosity, and if she doesn't have it, make sure she gets it from something. And guys, if you want a lady to fucking glue, just show her another perspective. That's all you have to do. Fuck looks and whatever. Show her a different perspective than what she's used to. Honestly, you'll got her. You'll have her. There's no chance. Then you can decide what to do with that power. Right?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I think we all have curiosity because that's how we learn as children, but then we lose it over time. And
yeah, that's natural. The plasticity of the mind goes.
Yeah. But as you were saying, it's crucial to have time apart.
Time apart, hobbies.
And this is like goes for both men and women. Don't make the relationship your life. The relationship is part of your life, but it's not it.
Having another fucking life is having, like what she said, right? My parents worked together. They had no life. I'll never fucking work with my girl, especially in the same business that we have to run everything by each other and everything's a fight. That's how my parents, they build a little life for themselves, but it was the cost of my dad smoking 3 packs of cigarettes per day and whatever the fuck. Like I can't, I'll never do that. I need time to miss my woman. I want my woman to show me something new. As a guy, we know this pressure is never talked about as men, but we're supposed to be the ones who reveal the world to the woman, right? We're supposed to fucking impress. We're supposed to show a different. That's a pressure on us, right? So eventually, if you don't hit your woman against these, or then you're partly responsible for why she's not the girl you fell in love with to begin with. It's a fact, dude. I'm not bullshitting. Because I half-assed it, and then I begrudgingly cheated or whatever the fuck, feeling all justified because I was wronged. But no, I didn't show up. So either tell the girl you want to fuck. I wish I knew this lesson before 25. Tell the girl you want to fuck. No, tell all girls you want to fuck that you just want to fuck. And then if you want to try it out, don't make no promises, dude. Just go in, see if you enjoy it, and try to be present, right? And then if shit goes wrong, then you can be like, then you'll feel that your conscience is cool, right? And you can break away from this toxic person if it turns out to be that way. But like, can you believe, like, literally every girl who's ever cheated on me, I was the one who cheated first, but just because I was very subtle about it.
So why did you cheat it again?
Because I'm a piece of shit. And my
Were you bored? You felt that you're not getting all of it from your
that's how I
relationships?
was a horn dog. I just wanted to have a lot of women swallow my cum. Can I be honest here? That's just was my thing. The backbone of it's probably, I don't know, some shit maybe in childhood. Maybe too many girls laughed at me. Who the fuck knows why? But I know all men have the hate and
So-
it in their balls. I'm not asking you to answer straight that. But I just wanted to. But at the same time, even when I was a horn dog, I took the time to, if anything, I was a nice guy. I had success because I had a mouth.
Mhm.
But I was, by not telling girls I don't want to, I just want a one night stand and enjoy the time or whatever the hell, or maybe just a week, or maybe even when I cheated, like tell them like I'm in a relationship and I'm being a piece of shit, right? Through not doing that, I fucking deviated. Give me a second, I need some water.
Sorry, speaking in your place right now for a little bit.
Go ahead.
I would say that, as you said, it's super important to say, hey, I'm not here for a relationship. I'm here just to, casual date or have multiple partners. Be open. And I'm sure there are girls, because I think there's this fear that they will say no.
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised how many girls actually be like, hey, I'm not looking to get in a relationship. Maybe they just got out of one. And they're like, I just want to, do the casual thing and move on with my life. I don't want to see you tomorrow. Girls do that as well. Even though it's more of a taboo and not talked about.
So what do you
here.
mean? How do you mean that? Can you say that again?
I would say that women too need just casual sex sometimes. They don't want the relationship all the time.
Yeah, of course.
And if you guys say from the beginning, hey, I just want this night or whatever, she'll be like, yeah, sure.
I think cheating is important to experience too,
Cheating?
on both sides of it, as a woman and as a man.
Can you develop on that?
Yes, I can.
Will you?
Oh, I can develop on that a lot. You asked me why I cheated. I cheated because I was young. I was proud.
Mhm.
I wasn't showing up for the girl I was with, and in the end, I pushed her to cheat.
Mhm.
But at the end, I felt with my balls, because I was wronged just because she didn't find out, because I was a gentleman.
Mhm.
At a certain point, I cut this from my life. Right. What was I saying?
You were
I have
about
points.
to,
I swear, I just can't connect them because I'm too high.
You were about to reply to the question, why is it important to cheat both as
Right.
a...
I always felt as a piece of shit when I did, because in the end, I could have broken up with this girl, right? Things I wanted her to do, and this is not sexually, although women I ever slept with eventually did what the fuck I wanted sexually. But sexually, I had no problems. Living together, Lee, I would be just a fucking animal, not communicating, right? Expecting the girl to know, and then when she didn't, I'm entitled to fuck it because, first of all, I'm protecting her because
Yeah.
she's also young, right? I was 22, she was 22, whatever the fuck.
Mhm.
I'm protecting her because I know better, and then I'll fuck around, and then when she finally did, just because I felt so entitled to like, fuck this, women wronged me.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of men go through that. I was on that side with feeling bad. I was the side of being cheated on.
Mhm.
And when after the initial anger went away, I was like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? To myself. Like, you've been literally sleeping around, like just replacing condoms because women always know how many condoms you have. So you gotta fucking put them back. Like, I'm not proud of it. I talk about it because we was all kids and I had a lot of those. It took some time before I learned some lessons, but I learned to speak up. Here's the lesson I learned, fellas. I learned that just putting it into your girl's asshole, as long as you have some lube at hand and it's there with no question and just being soft but firm, I learned you can do that. Now the girls, I'm not even looking at the girls on my right because I don't need them to respond to that. I'm just saying, sometimes I wanted to make love with a woman, with the girl I was seeing, not a girlfriend, like, in her butt, because I feel women should experience that. And if they don't know, you should teach them that. But I was so chicken shit to like kind of just go for it, right? Because all women, when they sleep with you, they have to play it like they never did it. What you think is going to be like. But you can tell as long as you just press against it, and then you're welcomed, and then okay, baby, you can tell yourself the lie. I don't mind, right? But it's not new. But as a nice guy, You're like, oh, can I put it in? Oh, does this hurt? And that hesitance causes your concentration to go. Your dick's not hard. She's hurting because you're not firm and tight. You're fucking pushing in and out. She doesn't have time to relax, but she can. You suck, dude, just because you don't believe in yourself, right? So women, I don't know where I was going with this, but the way it was, I'm sure I had a lot of points I was trying to connect, but give me a second here. I have a
Take your
point.
time.
So where was I going? Being a piece of shit, being weak.
Cheating.
Yeah.
How is that important to do it?
Maybe if I would have just put it in my girl's ass and told her I like it and trust myself enough to know that she would like that with me, then I wouldn't go search for that in some other girl that she gave me enough size to know or obvious signs to know that that was a go for. In that particular case, I wasn't this anal chaser. It's always welcome, right? But yeah, I could have lived happier memories, but that did me good too because I felt bad afterwards. I took it out on this girl, and years after, I saw how stupid I was for not either asking my girl or whatever the fuck, right? And even especially emotionally, because sexually, it's okay. It was okay, but emotionally, I wouldn't just be like, I need my space. I couldn't say that to a girl. I need my space, baby. I need to get the fuck home. As soon as she turned into the innocent lamb, and I fed upon that because she was young too, right? And she was like, I don't know the world, and you're my savior. Oh, that's a nice wine to drink, isn't it, fellas?
I bet it is.
Right? And you bathe yourself in the savior messiah complex just for her, but you know better, but you can't like tell her your boundaries. Or maybe it's like me, you're too proud. You say, I make her come, so and then I do what the fuck. So I'm a male now, so I don't have to say shit. I do what the fuck I do. That's how I roll. I drove her crazy. Except I wouldn't answer the phone, whatever the fuck, and then to point it out, I wasn't this constant cheater. Like it got points where I cheated, and then she cheated. Like it wasn't this like I cheated all the time, but I mostly cheated with older girls. Right, I was a piece of shit too.
So I think the conclusion to this is that lack of communication.
No, I think the girl needs to cheat too.
Why?
Because I slept with a lot of girls who were in like almost ending relationships, and because I'm a good company. I really when I had ex-girlfriends and they came and girls we just had a one night stand, and then I just need to talk to somebody. I was honest. Like after I passed 24, 25, I was like, we could do this once. We might even be able to do this twice, but I will want to fuck you at about the third time. I'll try to fuck you. I want to fuck you from the first time because I'm curious if you got better or whatever the fuck, right? But I would be honest with those girls, and then they had sex with me or whatever, but they also kind of figured out what the fuck they wanted to do. In that period of sleeping with a lot of girls who I didn't know. First of all, I didn't know the guys to the most part, right? So I always tried that, and those times are gone. But I never did, except for a couple of times when I was just taking revenge on a friend. Okay. But those girls in those lessons, in those moments, were so open to see what the fuck where they went wrong, right?
Yes and no, because that's also from their side, the lack of communication. They went to you because you provided something.
No, they came to me because their husband didn't fuck him in 6 months.
So they should have
boyfriend.
Whatever. They should have gotten out of that relationship. It's
not easy though.
Unless you're held apart by coronavirus for 4 months and can't meet and have sex, there's no reason for you not to have sex.
I believe you're being naive. There's a bunch of women who do not know how to bring the magic, because the guys, how to keep the magic, or even if there should be magic with a person.
Yeah, but they don't also, they expect things to happen. That's the biggest mistake women do.
Yes.
They sit there nicely and they expect things to come to them just because they are thinking of them. But they do not tell their partner, hey, I would like this, I want this, I need this, this is who I am, this is what I'd like to happen. And it
ladies,
goes for everything.
I remember I used to tell you, like, just go when he's fucking sleeping, and just fucking when his head is like above the couch, just put your fucking pussy on his face every once in a while. I mean it. It reminds me, like, oh shit, my girl has some guts. I want to conquer this woman, because I already know you. You're my girl for fucking 10 years. I know you. So in you growing, I get something to conquer. But growing, it can't be just like, oh, I got a new position. I also need to remember that you need dick. And that's how you keep your man alive. But some
Of course.
men jerk off too much. That's another problem too. And then they kind of keep absent. You don't hold your nut. I'm going to have a whole podcast about holding in your nut and not holding it in and when to be deprived, at least from my experience. But yeah, you fucking jerk off in the sink. She masturbates in the shower and then kind of feels lonely. You play PlayStation or whatever the fuck. And that's fine too. That's fine too. As long as it's not just that. But if you stop, but see, some girls don't know this. Some girls, like you said, come so inspired into like from all the media, from like this is supposed to work, that they don't know how to handle that.
Yeah, and all they see is a picture. You don't know if that's real. You don't know if that's the actual boyfriend. You don't know if that comes as a result, even if it is the boyfriend. You don't know if that comes to a result of her nagging him for 2 weeks for that flower bouquet, or if he really wanted to do that. And where I'm trying to get with this is that if you do not say what you want, and if you don't keep the flame up with your boyfriend, with your husband, whatever, if you become very comfortable and you're not sexy anymore and you're wearing
It's
your
not about
sweat,
sexy.
I'm not talking about very sexy clothes, but it's the attitude.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just about the, but at a certain point, and you should, know about this too. Doesn't matter. I still want to fuck other women. I have an alpha bitch and I also deserve to fuck other women. That's my instinct. I'm not saying I'm chasing it. I'm saying as a man, it's in our balls.
I know
you know.
I know it is there, yes.
So when women cheat, that's in your ovaries too. It's just not talked upon. And I slept with enough girls cheating themselves.
Yeah, I know there are plenty of women who do that.
Yeah, but I think it's essential to be on that other side too. You've been cheated on, you feel like shit. But then you're treated like shit. And then it's your time to not give a fuck. And then you feel bad. But then in the end, this is part of the road of building, of knowing what you want. And I literally had a girl, one of my earlier girlfriends, who I slept every 3 years during all my 20s until the last guy before she got married, her husband, right? And I always asked her, like, don't you see a pattern? Like, aren't you like, don't you see that every time you just come by here? And she just wouldn't learn that lesson.
So what did she say to that?
She liked me a lot. She cared for me in our time initially.
Okay.
But then I was always honest. Like, you're searching for comfort and I'm going to give it to you as a friend. And then we can fuck too if this is what you want. But you have to, I always try to get girls out that door stronger. The girls I liked, I mean. And even when I cheated, right? I think they learned a lesson through that too. Next time they eventually learn like, fuck it, dude. I'm gonna stop being in this situation where I'm in one leg in a boat, one another, and I'm gonna take this 3 months to myself. And I had girls do that. I said, like, you cheated, now you feel bad. You're gonna break up with him. You're gonna feel worse. Don't just go to another boyfriend and just jump into it, because that's the instinctive woman thing to do, and even some men.
It's our need for attention and connection and emotional care and all that, emotional sharing.
Plus your context of the world you thought yourself to be and just changed. You just like got cheated on by this person you trusted, right?
Yeah, been there. So
yeah, but then you find a nice guy.
Oh God, that's so yeah.
That's a rebound, right? All women who get hurt, some eventually have to find this nice guy stereotype too, which is. And then everything is perfect, and he does exactly what the fuck you thought you wanted the other dude to do. You thought you wanted the other dude to do.
And then it's too much.
No, and then your pussy doesn't light up. And then you're not interested because he's so into like...
pleasing you all the time.
Yes.
With everything.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be pleasing. It could be one of these... I think we're good and society says we're good, so this is good, right? This is good, baby. And with that question, like, you're supposed to say yes because what's wrong? This is like what you're... And then your pussy doesn't go for that. And I met girls who like, they went for that, right? In some cases, I was the one who hurt a girl and then she went into a like clean boy relationship, right? And I cared for this girl. I really did, even after the time we had, and she was another man. I don't interfere. I never truly searched to cheat. If I would approach me, I just wouldn't say no. So this girl, she had to like stay in that. That's the problem. She didn't have to stay for 6 years with that guy and then realize she's in strong independent women and kind of like take some time for herself and then kind of got herself together and got herself in shape, and she has like the most wonderful family now, nice baby too, right? She didn't have to waste those 6 years, but I think society doesn't fucking teach women this.
No, it doesn't, and especially in this area of the world where we live in a very traditional society, it gets easily westernized, but it's mostly traditional. So what happens is that we are taught that you have to get married and have a job and have a kid and that's it. And if you're getting in a long enough relationship, you should stay in it no matter how miserable you are, and continue to be there and be miserable. So I think that's toxic, that's wrong. And
yeah, but the sexual side, because we were talking about.
yeah, that as well is, if you're having more than one or two partners, that's bad. You're a whore.
Right?
Yeah.
Fucking
So
idiots. I blame the church.
And I've heard even men saying, "Oh, I don't want a woman who slept with more than one guy maximum."
That's
because
stupid.
I'm like, how do you expect to please her if she can't know herself because she hasn't experienced enough?
That's what these fuckers want. And there's nothing wrong with wanting a girl who's younger and maybe you still don't have a grasp on, and you just want to impress a younger girl, right? But if you're a young chaser, like, come on, dude. Grow some fucking confidence. It's like I always liked I liked all women because I'm a guy, and if I attracted, I took. That's the animal side. I never said no, right? So, or I didn't give a fuck. I have to live, right? But the what was I saying?
About women not being told that they should have sex and blah, and they're taught by society that they should have
I forgot.
more than one partner.
Whenever I think about
and you were saying something about guys who are chasing young.
Yeah, you can't just rely on that, dude. Watch some MILF porn. There's some quality of an older woman. Why you give a shit that she fucked so many women? There's so many guys. It still shocks me how many guys have this mentality.
Yeah, and
I don't want a virgin or a girl who kind of trembles that. I want a girl who
knows what she likes and wants.
Exactly. And is not ashamed to ask for it. And if she wants to play the innocent role, fine. But I know she has the tool to play the innocent role that night, and we can play different roles. But when you cut it off, I can't have this. My growing girls period has gone. We all have to have it. Like I always say, a good woman is the result of a little bit of work of each of her boyfriends, right? And a good man is the same. And I don't mean that the boyfriend taught her directly. They mostly taught her what not to want or like, but she's a product of that. You're the same as the guy, right? You meet some girls, you fucking think, yeah, like fuck it, slop pizzas everywhere. You don't fucking wash for 2 days, right? Don't give a fuck. Let's fucking do this. You're wild. You jump off cliffs. You don't give a fuck, right? But then you discover like this girl that you want to, she kind of, it smells like pink in the room. You never experienced that. The girl is 22 now, you're 23 or whatever the fuck, smells like pink. Things are in order. You did experience that. You're like a caveman. What is this smell that is not stale pizza? She has her shit together. You kind of live at her place for a couple of days. The seat of the fucking toilet is clean. Now you fucking, you like it there. You fucking leave it up or whatever the fuck. You see how that makes her feel. You're kind of like, whoa, I need to work on this. What the fuck? Then you realize you like some of that order too, dog. And then you make yourself better. So you're a product of older girls. Doesn't mean if it's one night stand or whatever the fuck. Just if you find something there's a lot of ways girlfriends can better you. We're the result of our exes. Bad, good, bad, and good. And you have to have exes and not just fucking women for them to be complete women. Otherwise, they're just going to repeat mistakes of the past. And if you're a father, I would guess, says the guy who has 0 kids, probably, maybe you should like ease up on that, because I think a lot of girls also go into like being hardcore, fuck this life just because daddy was too harsh in that regard, or that was maybe too taboo or some shit in the family.
Definitely. Some of them would stay in that trauma and grow in it and grow with it, and they would become so attached to that. Daddy didn't love me. Life is a mess and blah blah, and it's horrible, and they grow and stay in that all their lives, and that's not what you want. If you want a well-functioning life, it's just get over with it. Yeah. As I did. I mean, I used to have my daddy issues that were really, really weird and bad, but then it got better and I got over it.
Yeah. As long as you for after you stop chasing the validation in other men, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's it. And ultimately, it's about, being with a person that clicks with you and not having any expectations and just enjoying it as much as you can for what it is and not what it could potentially be, because that's another thing we women do.
Yeah, but you got to get to that stage.
Yes, you won't start your 18s or like 20s with that attitude, that mindset, because you cannot.
Yeah. I think 20s, people, and I did that too. You kind of follow the guidebook, what you're supposed to,
Yes.
and you think, but then you don't hit those walls to kind of know where you fit.
So, yeah, it all comes with experience. That's why I'm saying
Experience, dog.
like experience with other people, experience alone, and see what you're made of and see where you want to get.
Fuck your dicks off, guys, and be honest with the girls. And when it's time to settle down, fucking find a good woman.
And
experience, guys. I told you, nobody respects the person who never took drugs their lives. Nobody gives a shit. Well, you are Mr. Square. Who's in the news? The guy who just got out of, AA or whatever. That's the people. Why? Because he hit the bottom. He met his demon. And that doesn't have to be weed or alcohol or harder drugs or whatever the fuck. It can be entertain gaming. It can be masturbating. It can be a lot of whatever clicks here. It can be social media, whatever fucking.
Mm-hmm. And as you were saying, it's super important to get in touch with your dark side. Get there, see what it is, and be okay with it, because that's how you become whole. And
with the parenthesis of the people who are orderly, so who kind of like, because chaos people, they're already in touch with the dark side. They need to access order.
Yeah, it depends where you are.
I'm talking sides, like I've met a lot of artist women, right? Like musicians and painters or whatever the fuck. Chaos yes. Incorporated.
Artists are pretty chaotic.
I should know. Yeah, you have to have both, but you have to, that's the one you have to keep in check.
Yeah, but
with order,
more or less.
No, I said keep in check. You need to let that puppy go. What do you mean? Of course you have to, like, guys, no matter how orderly you are, how chaotic you are, and then you got I gotta get my shit together, and I experience that every 3 years. I gotta get my shit together. There's too much chaos around, right? Even if you do that, comes a time in a period when you have to grind down and let that motherfucker off his leash, dude. You fucking do that shit. So you're not supposed to suppress it. You're supposed to guide your demon. If you're,
Oh yeah, don't suppress that thing, because it's going to come out even bigger and wilder. So
yeah. No, you have to guide it and use it. And and even if it's, listen, this happened, like, you guys know, my studio got burned twice this summer and autumn, like fucking cells and zeros. And just, I couldn't see what the fuck I was doing, trying to do everything right. I told my girl, didn't I tell you, baby? I said, baby, it's going to be 2 months of chaos. And I let it go. Sex, fuck it, sure. No, jerking off 2 times a day. My girl falling asleep. I don't give a fuck. Jerk off, work. Smoke, drink. Then get my shit together. Feel bad the second day, grouchy, but then I'm more focused. I went to chaos. I accessed my demon. I was meaner. Like, I went after it. I didn't mind that unfair asshole to be let go, because that's what the fuck I needed right then. So I have him right here by my side, and sometimes he rubs my shoulders too much, but I don't suppress him. I'll never be able to suppress him. I don't want to suppress the dark side, right? It's what gives me creativity.
It's healthy. It's healthy to have a full spectrum of in your life, the light side and the heavier side. It's what makes us who we are. Because if you're not using it, if you're looking away, it doesn't mean it's not there. So just take it out, because what happens, and you'll see in the news, like, this guy that killed his wife, and everybody's like, oh my God, he was such a nice guy. We don't know what happened. Well, what happened is that he didn't get in contact with his demons. And eventually they grew bigger and bigger, and they came out, and this is what happened. Whereas you could do this, like, do your thing for a while and then go back to normal.
Yeah, man, don't kill your wife.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, you have to be the whore too. Cheat. Don't listen to Anna. Girls, cheat. Bathe in the fucking depravity. Feel bad. You know what always fascinates me, and I talked with Paul about this too. It fascinates me when there's young girls and you have your first or maybe second relationship,
Mhm.
and you maybe it's a few years old, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, and then you do that by the book thing you envision, and then it ends, and then it's cool that maybe like I always think about the moment the girl sleeps with another man after that was their home or whatever the fuck her apartment, and
Mhm.
you know what I mean. I always feel that feeling of what does a girl feel then, and sure there's multiple answers, but it's like, am I finally, depends on why they broke up, I guess, right? Am I finally I can fuck this dude and he didn't fuck me anyway, or was it he broke up with her and now it's like it's empty without him, and this guy, is it enough? And
I usually switch the apartments.
just I think that's very smart.
Because I stay with rent in Bucharest, so therefore every time like something like this
Oh,
happened,
you what? You
I
stayed?
just moved to another apartment entirely because
But did you stay at their place?
we had a common place.
Common.
So yeah, I just switched the apartment. I couldn't be there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I guess I had a few girls who had their own apartments and I would stay there. So
that must be a little harder to deal with.
I was also the guy who had a relationship at the girl's house who just broke up after with the guy, and I was the first in that bed. And I saw there's different. You can cheat with a girl and whatever the fuck, but if you cheat with a girl that just broke up after and she just only slept with that dude for 3 years or whatever, 2 years, 5 years, you'll see some sort of like scared little girl inside. Like it can be horny or whatever. You can fucking, all the liquids can be bouncing around, but it's there's a little scared little girl of what the fuck is this, my new life? I always liked that look. Yes, I saw it's because it's less bullshit. I know the girl is in a period of change, and I also like it because she can be manipulated, but I didn't abuse that. I manipulated her to feel better for the most part. I'm not bullshitting. That's how I rolled, because then afterwards they would fuck me when I wanted. So it's not entirely like a messiah. I also had but it's a mix of both, right? But come on, fuckface. You can do this. What was your point? I had a point.
Your point. I mean, you were talking about how women were having sex after breaking up with their partner.
Right. In the end, I just want to tell people that they have to, like, girls, you have to cheat too. Cheat. Fuck around. Don't aim for the cheat. But if you're mistreated,
leave the relationship.
Fuck. No. If you're wise enough to do it already, to say, fuck it, this isn't for me, and I'm bouncing, you'll have the respect of every man out there. The problem is the 90% of the women say they do, and from my experience, only about 20% of the women do this. And I don't necessarily respect the women who didn't either, obviously, because I keep making this point. You cheat. A lot of girls who fuck and cheat, and afterwards, if it's a communication, after they start relationships, they start seeing their own bullshit, what they did wrong, and you get that from cheating. First of all, you feel bad about yourself or what you did, and then you think about what the fuck. Not only did you cheat it, but what the fuck did you do? Maybe you were too demanding. Maybe you were too needy. Maybe what the fuck. And this wouldn't hit you if you wouldn't cheat, or it would hit you harder. It's easier. That's why, that song from Atmosphere, got a thing for the women that don't love themselves, right? As men, right? Why? Because you can see, and also as a guy who you attract girls, I really, after about 24, 25, when I stopped trying to make every girl fucking come, although most of the times I didn't, because I was too eager and they felt that in the energy, so they couldn't come, right? Up until that point, I was, this is getting too hard. Can I confess something?
Sure.
I need to pee and I can't think.
I can talk for you. I can talk about cheating while you're gone. I can talk about why they shouldn't be cheating.
All right. I wish I heard this point, but I'm gonna let her talk a little bit. I swear I have a point, you guys. I'm pissing myself. I'm high, and if too many things are on me, I'm losing my points. I'll be right back.
Trust me, it's going to be fine.
Baby, you come. No.
No, you don't want to come.
No, because I want to introduce her.
Oh, of course. A lady must be introduced. So why I was saying that it's super important not to cheat but to get out of the relationship is because if you stay there where you're not healthy and you continue feeding that evil by reinforcing it with cheating, because then what happens, you definitely lack something in your relationship. it may be yourself or something from your partner or in the wholeness of the relationship. And when you go and cheat, what happens is that you get what you missed, and then you go back to your evil and you feed it continuously, and you don't get out of the vicious circle. It just becomes this continuous loop, and you never get better. It gets worse and worse, and you get married with that guy that you cheated so many times because you weren't happy, and then you make a child or two or three, and then your life continues, and you'll find yourself in your 50s or 60s and you'll be like, what did I do with my life? I'm so unhappy. But why were you unhappy? Because you weren't feeding the good in your life. You're feeding the evil side. I'm not talking about sin here. I'm just talking about not taking care of yourself and respecting who you are. Because that's another thing. By cheating, you do not respect your true self, nor your partner. And instead of living with that shame and that guilt of cheating, it's more beneficial to welcome back.
Thank you. Go ahead. More beneficial too.
To cut the ties to that person that made you so unhappy. There you go. And
thank you for sharing.
Move on with your life, and become happy. Happiness is not a given. Happiness is a construct. So work towards it and do your best to achieve it, and not by combining two persons that which fill the role of one. Hey, cutie.
Ladies, if you're going to cheat, I don't know what Anna said. It must be good. Don't listen to me. Cheat at the right time. But if you're going to cheat, don't expect the guy who you cheated with to be your next boyfriend. Please don't do that.
Yeah, no, that's
just if you're gonna cheat, don't be that naive, right? Because any sane fucking man would be like, if she cheated with that guy with me, when shit goes bad, she's gonna fucking cheat on me with another dude. The pattern is there, and as a guy, there's not long to figure that out, right? So don't expect to do it with that guy. As long as that happens, yeah.
And also, if you're the other woman, if he's cheating with you, don't ever expect him to leave her for you. No matter what he's saying, no matter how he excited, he's like, oh my God, we're meeting again. I promise you I'll leave her and we'll be happy. And no, that's not going to happen.
That should be a cliche by now, but I feel like people...
No, all women keep falling for that. And
well, I guess there's always a new batch of women and men, and they have to be taught. So I guess this is wisdom that needs to be passed on or earned, I guess. Listen, dude. As long, ladies, as you don't cheat with the last guy, right, and you marry that guy, it's cool. I don't mind it. I wish every girl I met, I wish she went through all these. Every woman I wanted to have a relationship with, I wish she'd been through all this, because it spares me the bullshit. In my opinion, a young woman, like Anna said, she's being told all the lies. She's being portrayed, this girl, in my opinion, she's being told all the lies. So there's a lot of, it's so easy, that pot of honey, to just get bathed in it, right? And at a certain point, if she never feels like she did wrong, she won't open herself up to thinking that maybe there's a chance, just a little chance, that she's not perfect. And there's a lot of girls, especially chaos girls, who go through that, right? So, girls, you have to live. You have to live. Yeah, I agree, it's harder, and you have to do it more subtly. But you have to allow yourself to live, and let your pussy be free. I mean that. I know you do it anyway. I'm just saying you can do it without guilt.
And also, if you feel like you're not ready for a relationship, don't be in one just because you think that society teaches you to be in a relationship. Don't get into things you're not ready for, because they will be the things that will damage you. They will not grow you. And always aim for things that help you, grow and become a better person and a bigger person, and evolve through that. So if you're not ready and you just want to go around and fool around, do it. It's nothing wrong with that, as long as you keep yourself in check.
Anna, would you do a threesome?
Well, it's something...
I'm watching her on the monitor right here.
Is it's something that I haven't experienced, so I would never say no to something that I don't know how it is. So I would say that at the right time, I may be open for it.
And with the right person.
Of course, persons.
Well, listen, the that's all you want your girl to be open to, right? And I know what you guys thinking. It has to be can't be a devil's threesome. What do you think about two guys, one girl? Everybody jokes about threesomes, but it's always guys like, oh, I'm gonna fuck two women. You can barely fuck one woman, dude.
Well, I would always go for the two guys, one girl, then two girls, one guy, because I want all the attention.
Right.
So if you ask me, I don't know what other girls may think, but
no, fuck it, don't. Like, this is why I brought Anna on, because she's not ashamed to say that. And if her better half wants that, or they ever be in that circumstance, they can decide that. But she's not afraid to say it, and I'm sure she wouldn't be afraid to just not do that if it isn't beneficial. She doesn't feel right.
Yeah, and speaking of that, it's also very important to do things that feel right. And you know what they are. It's the first thing you got, the first thing that you get in your body towards something. So if it feels good, do it. If it feels like maybe you shouldn't do it, maybe you're not ready and you can't fully enjoy the experience.
I guess my cat, shut up, little stinky. I guess he's hungry. It's 9:30. Come on, buddy.
He wants the podcast.
He wants attention. Stinky. What were we?
We were at the threesome with two guys, one girl.
Yeah, who should bring the girl? If it's a two girls, one. Obviously, the guy. There's always delicate guys.
No, the other girl should be chosen together. Or at least I wouldn't accept to have this random girl being brought to the.
I never said about random. I said about him bringing her.
Well, it would be random for me.
I'm interested in your perspective. It's done in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I would never just accept someone. He just brings in I'm like, who is this girl? How did you meet her? Did you had no? Just we choose.
No. Listen, threesomes. Sometimes if you're open-minded, it can happen like that. I didn't have many of them, but I had a 2.5-some. Did I tell you about the 2.5-some? But it's different dynamics when it comes to threesome. I guess it's the ideal for me is me and the girl and my girl dominating the third one.
Yes.
Not necessarily yes.
Yes, for me.
Yes. Yeah, because you're an alpha bitch. So you wouldn't have another girl's pussy on your face, but you want her. Can you, would your boyfriend be doing her and you put a pussy on her face? You'd be okay with that. But the reverse, would that be okay?
No.
There you go. But then you realize you're humans and some things do cross over. But yeah.
I wouldn't be able to speak because I don't have the experience. So I wouldn't know what to say related to this.
It's okay. You're a strong woman. It's exactly what I expected you to say. There's also the dynamic of the guy being more of a beta and him wanting to be dominated by two women. And then they're kind of girlfriends. And he's kind of not the slave, but you know what I mean. He's kind of like...
the submissive one.
The submissive one, yeah. Or maybe they're both submissive. Oof, this is going to my territory.
Both whom? Both him and his girlfriend, or him and the new one? Or the girls?
No, both the girls.
Okay.
That's another dynamic, right?
Mm-hmm.
The girls, you're like, fuck it. I'm do Sofia Kurpe. Excuse me. Doesn't matter. When my dick's hard, I can say whatever the fuck I want. Like when you're horny, you can say whatever the fuck you want, right? So that's another dynamic. I tend to lean towards having an alpha, like being an alpha couple and dominating.
Yep.
But I also there's an instinctive thing about just them doing exactly what you say to each other, and they cut the ego in between themselves enough for her ass to be on your face to not matter because he wants that. That's the guy. Some guys, I think they're all interesting, if you ask me. There's not a particular one. I'll try, they're all good. But yeah. What about girls? Let's do the other threesome. So two guys, one girl. What the fuck can they do? Can they can they
Well,
kiss each other?
depends on what she wants, what are her desires, what are her fantasies, right?
It's simple to be dominated, especially girls in control. You have the fucking a rape fantasy, which is standard, and you have the obviously two guys being dominated, and even then you can differ, right? You hate yourself enough as a woman, you want to be ravished and spit on, and you can be spit on as a fucking independent woman. You love that if it's done by the right man, but you know what I mean. In a threesome and two guys situation, you either want to be the rag because you kind of hate yourself, and girls who hate themselves want to be ultra the story, or you want to be the queen. Here's the girl on my right? You want to be still fuck hard because it's sex. It's a threesome and it's like slow music. Why is it a threesome? One of you go cook and let the other one fuck, or right? But then she wants to maybe to order them around, right? Like no, you come, you both go. Maybe challenge just both of them. That would be hard for
It will also go as the couple being dominant to the other guy. Why not?
What do you mean?
Like having him and her, the couple, being dominating to the other guy.
To the other guy, yeah. I'm saying things plausible in my sexuality. I wouldn't judge anybody if they're into that shit. I don't understand it. Guess what? I don't fucking have to. If you're a decent person, knock yourself out, right? But yeah, and this classic, would you sleep with would you do this threesome if your boyfriend would kiss the other guy?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's open-minded.
I've been watching gay porn, and I find it interesting, some aspects of it, So
they really ruined my day.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm nothing against gay people. I'm just saying I'm scrolling through some I don't know whatever the fuck I want porn, right? Girls saying disgusting shit, and then I see this old dude with a dick in his mouth in the thumbnail. It just ruins my mood for a second. No judgment. I hope
No, but I mean, and
what did you discovering gay porn? Tell us.
But there was nothing that one shouldn't know already or doesn't know already. It's just two men having, but it's about, for me, what's interesting. So you have two poles of power, right? Because men are powerful, so when you have these two things together in an intimate kind of report, that makes it fascinating because you see all that power, all that kind of, even though one is dominated and the other one is dominant. So like you have the male and
of course.
It's still a lot more power than in a couple with a woman and a man.
And a man.
So that's the aspect that kind of fascinated me, like the male power together coming from two sides, not just one side.
Yeah.
It's just interesting. Not necessarily that I'm into it. I'm watching gay porn, but I was just curious to see
I made an whole episode about taking 2 minutes after you come and you jerk off and you scroll a little bit just to see what the fuck's there. It's episode 6 of Frustrations, I think. But yeah, it's I always find it I can't watch gay porn because I can't. It's not nothing wrong.
It's your thing.
But it does fascinate me as a dynamic. I mean, I'm a human fascinated with other humans, so but there's that scale of malleability. You know what I mean? I think I keep talking about this. I never know the names, guys. I know what I'm talking about. Hopefully you guys know too. But there's that scale. And I think I had gay friends, right? Or acquaintances. Before they ruined it for themselves in the US with marriages, they used to like just switch around and whatever the fuck and be open about it as long dodging gates. Just dodging gates and having fun, right? But there would be some couples who interchange more, right? Like they change like being passive and active, who gets it in the butt or whatever the fuck. And there'll be couples who maintain the dynamic of, for the most part, you have to change. You have dicks, you have to like see what you can do with them. You have 1, 2 as a party. But by they kept more of that, him being the passive, the other him being the starlet kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I think that's a malleability for men and women too. I, for one, can't come if a girl fucks me from above. I just can't.
No, it's your...
I can. Guys, listen. Of course we can. I don't want to, particularly want to, or I'm put in the position where I can't help myself and pop. Just because I like to have control, right? That being said, if I do my best not to buzz my nut for a week and I just sit there and sometimes I want to be tied or like catch my hands a little bit, right? So you're just like, I have no choice in giving you this cum or not. You know what I mean? Right. I of course I'll pop, but as a general rule, I like to kind of like dominate. You know what I mean? And there are some men who like, they can switch between, or just like to sit there like fucking lazy cunts and just do that. And her lady never gets to be like ravished apart because they're fucking lazy. Fuck those dudes. Don't fuck those dudes. Yeah, the scale of the elasticity of your dominance level. I'm stupid. I don't know how to explain it. I'm sure the people said it better than me, but always fascinated me. Even your like, I don't understand bisexual people. Do you understand them?
Well,
as a wiring,
well, recently I got over something that was even more confusing than not that I got into it, but I saw it.
Okay.
More confusing than bisexual people, and that is she-males.
Oh, but she-males,
that's super.
They've been
awkward
around
for me.
since
I know,
forever.
but for me, it's just like, how undecided can you be as a person if you kind of want to be a woman, but you want to be the man, but you're into men, but you're still a man.
There's so many dynamics.
Gay. It's like, what's going on there?
I don't watch them, but I think they're goofy. I don't know. They're trannies, right? Like she-males, like they have a dick, but they dress like females. Or do you mean the one, the hermaphrodite who has a pussy and a vagina?
No, the ones that are like, so they look like women, like
yeah, but they have a
women.
dick.
Yes, that's like too much for me. Like
it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be for you. But
yeah, of course.
Let's think about these people, shall we? People, do you still? We have people on. I think everybody fucking left by this time. Let's see. Do we have at least 10 people on? Let me refresh this. Oh, 33. We're good.
Something must be interesting here.
People like dirty shit. What were we saying?
We were talking about she-males, and you said that you...
Right. Let's think about it. So, let's take it with gay people. I'm gonna make a little rant here. I'll let Anna add too. Here's how I don't see it. I'm just go through it and kind of figure it out as I go. All right. So, there's men. I understand gay people. A gay friend explained it to me when I was much younger. You saw first time a pussy? Yeah. Did you kind of didn't know what happened, but your dick was hard? Yeah. That's how I was when I saw a boy. I was like, oh shit, that makes so much sense. Like, what the fuck? That doesn't mean you can be abused and be all that shit, and like that can change your sexuality, but that can make you asexual too, right? I'm not talking about trauma, but just regular people. That's how it was explained to me. Made perfect sense. That's the way this person's wired, right? But there are gay people, and gay people, please don't deny this, who want to fuck a straight dude, aka to turn a straight dude just for a night, a little confused straight dude, just to fuck him a little bit. And no matter, as a guy, a straight guy, that you, like me, who like bathes in, or maybe more mature women or where the fuck, you can't admit the flattery of just having a small girl or even turning a lesbian. That fucking myth. A real lesbian, not a guy girl's just experimenting or open-minded. I mean, a real lesbian. Like, you can't admit that you don't have that too. So I understand gay people. Maybe that's the fantasy, right? That's the ultimate fucking thing. You want to...
That's something, I can go with that as well.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I told you guys, gay guy hit on me. Told him no thank you. He went right the fuck back. He told me to have a nice evening, and he promised he didn't put anything in the fuck. No, he ordered it, but I saw it. So, but like, there's what I understand. This, right? So they want to take a guy. What would it be? Fucking being a dude who likes fucking dudes, and fucking a dude who's not sure he fucked only girls, but you just turn him, and you see. I guess you got to start slow. Maybe he put a finger in his butt himself already, or he liked ass play, but he doesn't know, and you have to kind of like teach him. And how would a man in that situation be? Kind of scared, I guess, or curious. I don't even fucking know that. Why? I can't relate. There's no judging. I can't relate, but it must be like, yeah, like I'm turning this mother. When the cute side is nice, and we're all human after we come, but at that straight fucking edge, he's like, I'm turning this fuck into my bitch, right? That's how I would imagine, and it's enough, and I understand why. Maybe it's kind of like virgins, who people who like to pop cherries all the time, but it's even more because it's wrong, and he thinks it's wrong too. So you see that in his attitude, right? Similar with girls. Now let's go to trannies. You're obviously gay if you like that, or maybe bisexual, but you dress as a woman. To me, what does that say? That says that if I fuck a guy, I think as a tranny, I would like to fuck even more a guy who's straight, because I'm a tranny, right? I have this big dick, but I dress as a woman. What do most men hate? Being fucked up the ass, or the concept of it, right? Straight men, I mean, right? And being dominated by a woman. So I guess as a tranny, you would fuck a guy who you're turning not sure, but you're also, he knows maybe it's one of those church people who's like all bottled inside, but he's also dominated by a woman and with a bigger dick in his, and he's taking, it must be this huge rush of fucking, I think, trannies. I would think, what would a tranny, and why, how would he satisfy that demon? You know what I mean? I paint the picture. I know, folks, and Anna doesn't have to reply to this, but let's imagine together. It doesn't have to be wrong, because we have that as men and as women too, right? For a man, dude, you have to like. Here we go, guys. We're gonna go back to trannies, but as a guy, no matter how young or old you are, if you can't have your girl, some girls, you have to have your girl touch herself for you. I mean that, like just rubbing her pussy. Some girls, they immediately, they give you a blowjob, they put it inside her, they want to fuck, they can't be watched, they hate themselves or some shit. Trauma, whatever the fuck, the ugly duckling. Even these two pretty girls in the room, when you go in the room of childhood, they'll have a picture where they think they're the ugly duckling. All that shit transfers into her not being wanted to be seen. So what I do sometimes is I light up a big joint. I sit in the beanbag chair, and I just have my girl be okay with me watching her touching herself. And I did that since I was a kid, because it's important for her to be like, it's okay. He sees maybe my leg is in a shift. Turn on a little bit of light too. Don't be fucking shy. Let her see you see her, right? And then she'll be more willing to see that you're in control, but you don't. Maybe sometimes have a puff, lick her pussy a little bit too, right? Right. But you kind of let her see. That's crucial. You have to have a girl rub her clit for you. And I'll give you technical reasons why. Sometimes you get older, you smoke a lot, and maybe you have a lot long shoot, but you still want to have sex, but you can't give it that 100% dick I was talking about in the dick size episode, right? How pretty it is for a girl to give you a little hand. There's no shame in that. If I have my dick to the maximum and I fuck her, I can make my girl come. I'm comfortable with that. Give me a little bit of help, baby. Rub your clit for me, right? And then it's easier also when you try anal with the girl, because she's already learned. She knows how to fucking rub her clit. Some girls are inexplicably, especially when they're younger, ashamed to really touch themselves. If you tell them, some of them touch themselves like they think you want them to. Right?
They think it's wrong. They're like, oh my God.
No. Yeah.
Some of them may.
Some of them may, but some of them just put on a show, but it's not the real way they jerk off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's okay. I do the stupid little fucking face when I do it. It's okay, but you got to get them to. Why? When you try anal, and maybe she didn't try it, right? Oof, that's important. It's so important, right? You have to fucking like. Hold on. I'm talking about sex. Sorry, girls. Should I stop? There's no answer, so it's a yes. I'll be back to you, Anna, in a second. I was
there with the girls rubbing their pussies.
Yeah,
for
so
real.
that's one of the things. The second thing, dude, you have to like really talk with the girl after the initial. If you have a human contact with her, then you have to be able, when you want to hear something, say what the fuck you want to hear, and do that little stupid game we guys do. You know, guys. You're about to come, and then your serotonin level is way up, and your inhibitions are gone, and you can finally tell her whatever the fuck you think of her on that side, or you want her to do. And maybe you want her to ask for it, like, and the girls do that little question game we do, like, you want it. I want it. As a guy, you just want to hear, I want you fucking come in my fucking throat and gargle, whatever the fuck, if you're in that hungry mood. But you have to play that game, like, for me. Just an example. It could be ask, it could be whatever the fuck you're into. But I want it. What do you want? Come. What do you want to come? Oh, okay. And it starts off with that, but it may be uncomfortable in the beginning. But don't be pussies like I was up until I was 22 and thinking, playing this, I would like almost kiss my own shoulder because I was ripped and shit and muscles, and I was just let the girl flatter and but it was dynamic. That sometimes worked when we had chemistry, but with a girl we didn't have chemistry. I could have had a nice time with that girl too. I was just too stupid to kind of like make her like tell her what the fuck I want her to do. It's so important.
Yes. Like,
especially that because I was a worker. Sorry, right? Like I wouldn't even like go for it and like. So talking and having a girl, that's a good starting point to make any girl who maybe is a beginner in exploring herself too, right? Feel more comfortable in doing it with you.
Yeah, and it also comes from your stability and solidity as a man, because if you're not sure, she'll be unsure, and then it's,
and then the butt hurts. What I said earlier, like you gotta want it, dude.
But it goes also to the outside the sex part of the relationship. Like, if you as a man are not decisive enough and you are not bold enough and masculine enough, the relationship won't have a lead, because you as a man, you're a leader. Like, now, relationships can work with both kind of ruling together, but
they can't.
No, in a sense where they could complete each other and complement each other.
Oh, alpha bitch, alpha man. Okay, I know. Alpha alliance.
Yeah.
Both lions.
That would work perfectly, but it can work if you do your job, your part as a man, and you're there. And
I didn't address this part of it, and I keep going towards sex because all the friends I have and all the people talking about, they talk about that side. I like to talk about the sex side. Of course, there's an interlink with that. And if you don't show up as a guy, it's easier for younger guys because the girls don't even know what they want. They're kind of in that we're naive couple together. I'm 20, she's 20, he's 22.
Yes and
they
no.
They can't know at that age.
Yes, they can know. But thing is that, or at least that's how I was. I always wanted someone that's a little bit more mature, a little bit older than me. So I would feel safe in the relationship in a sense, because I would have the idea.
Yeah, that's your daddy issues.
That he knows, what he wants, and he can take the lead. And, not that I was a follower. I was never a follower. I hated the idea.
Yeah.
But knowing that I can rely on him if something goes bad or wrong.
Especially, yeah. Yeah, but you had that instinct of knowing to want, maybe that was instilled by your mom to know what you want.
Yes.
Or helped until you figured it out.
Potentially, yes.
Right. Some girls don't have that, unfortunately. Yeah. Do you want to keep going? I could rant for another half an hour if you want to.
Of course.
You okay, baby? You want to go to the toilet? It's okay. We can all pee.
You just did so.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, pedant. Yeah, so, trannies. I feel like I left that subject. What do you think their life is like? I know there's talking about like, let's go to the extremes. We have this path. We thought about trannies, and we said let's talk about what do you think? What do you think a tranny's life is like? Because there are trannies who are men in their normal lives, and that's a little secret. They're the ones who are more exposed about it. What do you think about that?
It comes with a lot of abandonment.
You think?
And loneliness, or feeling maybe misfitted in the world, because. First
you might get a lot of shit for this.
It was so taboo and so hidden, and it still is for so long, and being seen as wrong, and they were maybe not showing up or off that much, and that must come with a lot of loneliness, because you feel you're not understood by people around you. You think they judge you, and that's never nice or fun.
You think, but there must be trannies out there who didn't experience trauma. They just liked.
Potentially. I haven't met any, but I have met gay guys, but...
it's not the same.
No, but trainees, no.
How do you know? Maybe I'm wearing the ladies' underwear right now.
Well, that I will never know, but...
I'm not. They don't fit.
You sure?
They don't fit.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I don't judge them. I just I get pissed when they get too wrapped up in this LGBTQ
Yeah, it's not
kind
like
of thing.
I'm a
But the
hetero
ones
woman and go and make a festival around it. Like, hey, this is for all heterosexual
uh,
women there.
that's with a grain of salt, because if you do have, there's no way for not being in a minority, me, you or me, because we're white and we grew up in a country where most people are white, and the ones who weren't white, they had more difficulties. But there's America and everybody who they had that issue. And what are we talking about? This is getting hard.
Gay people and trans being
Yeah.
accepted or not.
So there they can they, even like black people, where they have the marches in the 60s, right?
Mhm.
Even the Pride Parade, the same. I think if you ask me in 20 years ago, like, or any other person, what do you think about a straight man who wears dress? Like 90% of the men will be like, fucking kill that motherfucker with no
Yeah.
reason, right?
Mhm.
So they have to have that parade to a point. Like, you have to make people aware that that's okay. What I don't like is when they squeeze the door, right? It's okay to be aware. Just don't squeeze the door on me to force me to maybe call you one. It's okay if you change your name or legal or whatever the sex, but all this pronoun bullshit, from Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson and all this shit, it's that's stretching it too far. But they do need to kind of have a parade, because people wouldn't know about it otherwise, and that would accelerate them being even more miserable and maybe accentuating some darker sides.
I would say that this is such a subject with minorities, and it may be sexual or not. The more you make it, you circle around, make a circle around it. Like, this is, one category, and this is another one, and all that. The more you accentuate their problems, like, they are separate from us. They are the ones like this or like that. So that's why I was saying no to the parade, not because they shouldn't be who they are or they shouldn't express who they are, but rather from a reason where they need to feel normal. And how do you feel normal? By not having that circle, by feeling included in the society.
Yeah, but there's a difference between having an event and bathing in that. Like I said, you wouldn't be able to even be okay with gay people if all you ever saw on TV and never saw these issues of gay people being beaten or whatever, or black people or whatever the fuck. You just wouldn't know. That would be the normal. Of course they're beaten. They're gypsies, right? I heard that many times growing up.
And I so disagree with that.
Of course. So exposure has to be there because like I always say, guys, every 20 years there's a new 20-year-old person able to vote and take decisions for the future, right? So you have to teach those people too, right? So if you can't bring the concept of racism, even if everything is good, right, to people since they're young, and then sexuality and all this bullshit, if you can't humanize them in that way, they'll think the fuck these people, instinctive, whatever is not me is wrong, right? Whatever is not what the fuck I was, they won't be malleable, they won't have perspective, and that will defavor all of us. Right. I'm too thirsty. I have to get some water.
Do you want some more from here?
No, I can't steal any more of your water. Baby, can I have some of your water? You okay, baby doll?
There you go.
All right. Thank you. Okay, we cleared trannies, I guess, from a perspective of people who never were. But yeah, if there's some people who face struggle and go in either directions. I don't think necessarily it has to come from struggle. I remember this theory being 10 or 15 years ago, where if you're gay, you must have been molested or some shit.
I really don't think it comes from that, because I as I was saying, I met gay people and I've had talks with them, and
obviously,
some of them,
but when you said that the trauma might be people with being trannies might be a reason of trauma. That could also be a reason. You mean?
But for gay people, like most of the ones I was talking with, they felt that in them from early childhood. So they wanted to explore in that direction from early childhood. Now, the reasons varied from one person to another, from one family to another. Some of them were just curious. Some of them were like, a girl wouldn't want to try to touch me, but my cousin would want to try it. So they would go into that, like, gay, in a gay sense. Not because they were from initially gay, but they, you know, they got to a point where they wanted to explore, and that was their first experience, and they liked it.
So what's wrong with that? I
There's
mean,
nothing. Absolutely
I think
nothing.
all this is a result of being so in more open-minded societies. As people get opener and opener, and creativity is allowed to flourish. As long as we have a fucking economy and not go to war, but as long as it's peace and there's creativity flowing, I think sexuality will always find subcategories because people, like you said, they see it, they see the concept of it, and they experience it, and maybe that's how they mold themselves.
Yeah, and again, it's nothing wrong with exploring sexually, and
I know you didn't say that, but
and as long as you're fine with what you're doing, go for it.
yeah, just don't fucking squeeze me out the door, guys. Like I have nothing. Like you have bigger fights to fucking fight. Yeah, I think political correctness sometimes it gets out of hand, and it only favors the communication versus the. We could get along so, but there's so many camps now. I know it's cliche to say it, and it's so obvious nowadays, but so many fucking camps, and so if you, like you said, if you keep drawing circles around categories, you'll always find somebody to like, oh fuck, they're wrong, right? Everybody laughs at the joke until the joke is about them, and then it's like, what?
And then eventually, what we all want, gay, straight, whatever, all of us, all we want is to be accepted for who we are. Nobody wants more than that, and that's where all the wars and fights and
I disagree. We want that, but also sometimes there's indulgence. You want to burn the world. You want to take over the world. You want more than you, because you start to develop this messiah complex. The name of the Kennedys, the whatever, all these dynasties, right? I think you can. Actually, I think the world is a worse place because that's a real reality of a lot of people, especially the ones who have success. Not all of them, obviously, but a category of them. And I don't know. It can't. People sometimes want more. A lot of times, most of the times, enough is never enough. So yeah, you can be balanced, but some people take too much. Fuck. I'm getting sad.
Why?
Just because I've been talking about this shit for years, and that's it. I think I don't like repeating myself. Nothing changes. That's my sad part.
Then what would you like to talk about?
I don't know. We're good. It's been going. It's great so far, right, guys? If it's usually over 20 people, people are interested for my reach at this point, so it's okay. You want to take some questions from people?
Yeah, sure.
Because I rambled enough and I interrupted you enough.
And you didn't.
I know.
I just making conversation.
I'm being all like I want the compliments, guys. Before Anna goes and before I give her more of a headache, let's read some of your comments, and if you during this time you can still write a couple of questions if you want to, and maybe Anna can answer them for you, and myself too. If you get hit on by a guy, it's a good sign. That means you are not that ugly. Not necessarily, dog. I mean, if it's the guy who's doing the hitting on, how many times do you haven't slept with a girl that was about under your level, at least physically? I'm not talking about the depthness of knowing the person and then conquering that, but straight. How many times what are you 6? How many times when you didn't go with a 4 just because it was easy and she may have felt, and you felt flattered if you weren't an asshole, right? You were like, or whatever, under, and you felt like you were doing her a favor, or whatever the fuck. Women do this a lot to men, and then they develop. But what the fuck was I talking about? Yeah, if a gay guy hits on you, doesn't mean you're fucking pretty. You can be insecure, and in that point where he wants to convert you, and even if you're ugly.
And then, ultimately, there's no ugliness. I think.
Oh, there is.
Or I was fortunate enough to see it.
No, it's on the inside. A lot of it.
Oh, that's.
Oh, honey, we're made of ugly. Us, all humans. Fuck that. I'm so pessimistic about where humanity is heading. Jesus Christ.
Let's see what happens after this general lockdown finishes, and we'll see where we are at.
Yeah. I don't want to get into that because I'll get
Oh,
sadder.
let's not.
Uh,
We'll cry together.
no. Uh, don't forget sucking a tranny's dick when you're a straight guy. Oh shit! I think I heard about this. Like, yeah, it must be the same category of guy who, maybe he's religious or he always wanted to be gay, or maybe some sort of military man who's comes from some extreme shit, and then he was supposed to be religious and whatever the fuck, right? And then he actually wanted to be gay or whatever the fuck, but he also wouldn't have a woman dominate him, and then he ends up sucking a tranny's dick. Maybe that's his way of, he never got to explore. He's feeling guilty and just pushes him off the ledge because he's not balanced. He's always fear of this judgment, religion, family, how you're supposed to be, maybe some sort of childhood trauma. So, yeah. Don't forget. I know you meant it as a joke, but I was thinking about guys who do it. It fascinates me. You know what fascinates me? Fascinates me. If you look it up, like I did, a lot of porn stars, they come from religious backgrounds.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know about this, baby? No? There's like, if you Google it, there's like a lot of them come from extremely religious, harsh families, and then they turn to porn for whatever the fuck. Some porn stars own it. I respect porn stars who know how to make themselves, comfortable and have a business rather than being passed around and thrown away. Be a good porn star if you're gonna do porn, but there's also porn stars who then find back religion. And I have this article. I read it a few fucking days ago. I didn't print screen it. There's this girl who did porn, and she was I always am fascinated about porn stars. Some of them are really girly and like everything is plush and shit. And then there's this extreme side where they're
all
right,
dark side.
right.
Yeah, I like that.
No, it doesn't like or dislike. It's
No,
interesting that
I
that's
like
a fact, right? But this girl quit porn and she joined a pastor
Oh, wow.
or something like that. Or maybe she turned to religion and she was part of this church, whatever the fuck. But hardcore, like to the church. And I found it funny. She married a guy who's very religious. It went from porn to being religious, and married a guy who's very religious, right? And she seemed happy enough. No judging of this girl. Maybe I'll find the article and show you in the next podcast. But it isn't recent. But I was thinking about the guy. No matter how religious they are and whatever the fuck, the guy knew she was a porn star. That was not a head. I want to interview that guy. You know what I mean? Like, you believe in God and all this shit, and it's commendable because but what do you think is in his mind? He's religious, he's whatever, and do you think he saved this porn star, and now she's religious in his community and his church group?
Well, religious or not, he's still a man, and he may know that she has enough experience or openness to try things with him behind the closed doors and everything, that he may not be able to
that dirty
with
fuck.
with a woman that has been religious all her life. So maybe he just wanted her for that, and also for that, not just for that.
Yeah, but it's funny that you can, like, that would be the ultimate sin to him. You're right. You're most likely right. I mean, there's no doubting it. But isn't it funny that he could be less religious and experience more of those things? Or maybe he likes the extreme. He feels so entitled to consider her a whore because he's this perfect God-fearing person and she's the whore. And I'm trying to imagine their dynamic.
That's a fun scenario.
Hey, could be. Definitely everybody in their parish knows. So definitely there's a side of ego too, because that motherfucker, no matter how how fucking really religious groups are, they all think about fucking sex because they have to suppress it so much. So definitely he's the top dog now in that community. Like, you know what I mean? No matter how dorky and religious they are, and they're kind of like, he's the dog amongst the fucking whatever, right? He's like like that, you know what I mean? He like, the guys know. Like, it fascinates me. Porn star, religious, you go to porn star, then you go to the religious, and then who the fuck is that dude and why? Whatever the case, if they're happy and they're peaceful, I like them. I hope they're happy, right? But it just fascinates me.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting.
Extremes fascinate me. Regular people bore me.
Oh, regular people are very boring. Normal is boring.
Except when they're in a mass. When they're in a mass, they're interesting because then you can study it and realize you're kind of part of them too, although you thought you weren't to an extent. I'm sorry. I know I say a lot of shit and I drank a water, but you want to take one more question?
Even more, if there are any more questions, sure.
All right, let's
sure.
just find. Is there any girls here?
I
God damn it.
see.
Priest. I think they're all going to priest now because I talked about this. Fuck. Sorry, guys.
Maybe above some.
Let's see. Mirela Kovic. I do agree with not. Hey, Mirela. Not cheating and getting out of the toxic relationship instead of feeding it with more negative and toxic shit.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's okay if you're already at that stage. Good, but were you always like that, or have you made your mistakes? Because this is the ideal. The ideal, Mirela, I think, is to know what the fuck you want as a man or as a woman. Life's shit all around anyway, so you might as well, if you're gonna go into this partnership with this person, might as well be as well-rounded already before you go into this shit, right? So, I agree with this, but I'm just saying, as personal experience, with all the women I slept, a lot of them, like nobody ever knew they cheated. But they cheated. And I know a lot of you girls who were watching this retrospectively did too. And you can't say, maybe to your best friend, you know what I mean? Girl, I did. You feel bad? Did you have it big? But enough girls don't even say it to no one. I wish men learned that lesson too. Maybe
Well, you need to share.
Men need to be more careful sometimes. No, I think it's part of it. I'm not saying be a cheater. I think you also have to be a cheater. You have to be the whore. Now, I know the whore too, as a man and as a woman. As a man, as a nice guy, you need to not give a fuck and also lose yourself and love yourself a little bit to know that you're worth to for the world to fall at your feet for a few years, be it girls or whatever the fuck you're into, right? You have to feed through that shit, even if it brings chaos, especially if you are orderly, right? Feed into the chaos, discover some of your creative side, and then you can find the middle. I'm sorry to disagree with Anna. I'll never agree that a woman, it doesn't have to be married or whatever. I'm saying you were with a guy for fucking even 6 months is enough to know who he is as a person, enough to know that maybe you guys didn't talk about this, and then you fuck another dude and then you break up with that dude. You know, you kind of bounce in between them for a couple of times. I'd say 90% of the girls who experience did that. I'm not talking about one man relationship, marriages, or none of that shit. Although those ones,
Especially older marriages. Oh my God, it's the craziness that's going on in those.
Yeah.
And the problem is not because they are people who lack morals, it's because, especially in Romania, people got married way too early.
Yeah. The guidebook is stupid. You're supposed to do it at this age and then you do it. And it's still, I think in the latest years, it went
A lot higher than 30 or around 30 for women.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is a big step from 2021, which was like my parents' generation.
But I still think the average girl.
Yeah. The average girl would marry around 25, which is still very early.
Kind of early.
But
I would say anything about 27, but it depends on your life. It depends on all sorts of shit.
yeah, definitely, I agree with you. And but it's also.
What's your age, Anna?
I'm turning 28 on the 4th of June.
So you think that's perfect, huh?
Perfect for the best part of my life, yes. For more maturity and growth and business, growth and expansion.
What do you think of women who wait too long?
Well, what is too long?
You tell me. I have less of a perspective.
If you're a woman who decided that, hey, I want to have children and I want to get married and blah, 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 you have a biological clock you need to take into consideration.
Yeah, that time is always going down.
If you just want to marry and stay in the marriage without children, that's, again, another age. You can get married later and that's fine. My only problem is actually with the ones that get married too early. Not with the one, because for me, there's no too late. Yes, we as women may expire a little bit after a certain age compared to men who just become. Well, that's the reality, right?
Yeah.
I see that the way the society and the world is constructed is a little bit unfair from that point of view.
It is,
because a man after 40 he's so sexy and mature and amazing, and a woman after 40 she's like old. or a hack or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And if she's trying to use surgery, she's being accused. It's like, oh, you're trying too much, blah, blah, blah. But then you weren't good enough without them, but you're needy or want too much attention if you're doing the surgery. So if you really want to get married and you want to have that thing, I would say that, maybe 40 should be your kind of age where you should be looking into it. But it depends. It's
Yeah, but
so
some
relative.
girls, the 40, the clock is already ticking.
Yeah. So
then it comes the pressure.
mhm.
Right? So it's easy. As a girl, you're 20. As a man too, you're like, I don't want to have fucking kids. Not for now, at least. Maybe in the future. Let's fuck, right? But then you grow older. You think you have your girls. They go away. They have the relationship. Suddenly, there's new girls, younger men. Kind of like you see how stupid they are. You met enough already too. And it's no matter how much you like it. Eventually, I think I want to bring a child into this world with my girl. So. If you don't want that, that's fine too. Who gives a fuck, right? As long as your partner also doesn't want to, or you agree upon that, and there's no frustration building there, that's valid too. There's 7 billion of us. It's okay. We're good, but it is this pressure on women to. I guess there's also different type of women relating to what you said, because there's also that type of girl who stays in that 20-year-old relationship or till too long.
Mm-hmm.
And there's how long are you together? Oh, what, 14 years, not married yet? Oh, it's okay.
So
we don't believe in that. Maybe they don't, but you can definitely tell the couples who are just saying that, because she's usually like pissed and her pinky's doing like this, or her foot when she says that. He's like, he actually believes it. I made it.
I'm not married.
And then it breaks apart, and then they realize they never experienced much. And
or he will just continue and move on with his life and be happy and conquer, younger girls. And
conquering is no problem. It's about showing up and being there. I mean,
yeah. But where I was getting at is that she will get to the point where she'll be like, oh, I'm like 40 now and he just left me, or we just broke up. So what now for me? And
how do girls handle that? How should girls handle that in your opinion?
Well, ultimately, it circles all the way back to what I was saying in the beginning, which is
give me a like, baby.
As long as you can provide for yourself and you can be independent, it shouldn't be a problem. Yes, any breakup is affecting you, and
baby. Sorry.
So any breakup will affect you and will definitely leave some damage, but ultimately, once you get over the trauma of the breakup,
how do you do it? How do you do it when you define yourself? Let's say you met at 20. There's 32 or 33, your whole world, maybe, that type of couple, complacent, they both kind of fat and they don't really go out that much. And because you envision this life and you kind of lean into the, routine and the comfort, then that world breaks for a girl. Obviously, the first thing she has to do, she works the shit out of her body.
Yes, and then, but most important is set up right her mental health. Because if she's not okay with all her emotions and whatever she's experiencing, and being like taken away from that comfort, that's the longer relationship, it will be very hard for her to, find a fitting in the world. She'll be alone. So, especially if the relationship is longer, she'll miss those, the comfort of good morning texts or good night texts and all that. And you have to get used to a new way of life. And another thing that happens is women.
That's why it's the hardest in that period to not fall into another boat immediately.
Yeah. And women have a tendency to quit their friends and quit seeing their friends as they're in a relationship, or see them rarely. And then they go back to them. They're like, hey, nothing happened. I've been away for 7 years, but now I'm back. And they already moved on with their lives, and she's even more alone.
You're not okay, right? Like, so all the girls like trying to help her out. Sometimes, especially in that case, we talked about that it lasted too long, and then it's in their 30s, and maybe the clock is ticking. I think maybe girls overdo it from not being experienced so much. They overdo it with like you said. There's nothing wrong with plastic surgery, dude. You don't have bigger tits. I like them. Good. You don't have a little bit of lips and fix them. Sure. Well, maybe you don't want plastic surgery. Maybe you wait until 40 and then you fix a little bit of this shit or this. I don't mind. But if you go overboard, and that's when it's the most tendency.
Yeah.
Women, they've never been exposed. They believe this. They're 33, 35, 40, whatever the fuck. They don't have a career, another something to hang
Mhm.
on. Their ego is just so invested in
Yeah, and
what this that was never meant to be. And now
Mhm.
they're guideless. So I'm afraid in those times, girls get wrapped. Some women, because they're not girls at that point, although they are in the mentality. They didn't experiment, girls. Then they wrap themselves up in this "you're perfect" culture, whatever the fuck. Now, some of it is beneficial because they need to love themselves a little bit, right? Because they've been hurt or whatever the fuck. They also need to face some truths. So just going to the gym, like Anna said, you have to take a foot up here too. Going to the gym, cool. Mens sana in corpore sano, right? It will only help you think better. It'll gain some of your confidence. It gives you a starting point. But then you have to not desperately search for another.
no, no, no.
But it's so hard not to. I would too if I was a
I
woman.
know,
I
and
understand. I don't understand the pressure. I can only imagine the
Mhm.
pressure. It's like fuck.
That's the only period in your life as a woman that you should go against your instinct. Like your
Why do you
instinct,
say that? That's interesting.
because your instinct will be to jump onto whatever feels like comfort because you want that. And we as humans, we love our comfort.
Oh,
And we love the adventure, we love the adrenaline and
as long
everything.
as there's a cushion
But
coming
yes,
back.
to fall on. And so that's why I'm saying it's important not to follow that instinct of getting clinged onto something new and comfy and cozy, because first of all, you can't think straight. And not because you're a woman, but you just cannot, because you're in a let's say, what's the word? When you quit drugs and you get into
Se vraždili se spoj? Withdrawal.
yeah, so you get into that phase and you take whatever it's available, but not whatever fits you. So this is where you should like kind of say, okay, I'm not seeing any men. I'm just taking my time for a while. I may fuck one after a while. You decide when, but not right after, because
And if you do, just fuck him, like on your
Yeah.
terms.
Yeah.
Just have a little power for once and send him home. That's so
Yeah.
important to send the guy. And this is going back to the apartment I was telling Anna about, like having her place. It was this place where he dominated, and then in the end he fucked you over, and now it's this place, and you go, listen here, fuck boy toy, get the fuck out of my apartment. I mean, a girl kicked me out once, and I was so proud of her because she clinged on to me so much, and I told her what I wish she had more for her future self, not for me, is just to have a little more confidence to face me, even if she thinks I might judge or whatever the fuck. And the last time she fucked, I didn't come. Like I did my kind of business, I think, and she kind of like, I'm going, and she just raised up, I'm going to take a shower. And and that was such a power move, and I felt so happy for her. And I went to the bathroom, and I'm like, I'm coming back, or should I leave? And he's like, do whatever you want. I'm taking a shower now. This girl that was so clean, and I really liked that about.
Yeah,
It was this moment of strength on her side that she finally. I'm gonna get my shit together.
Mhm.
I'm not defined by you or not the guy. And she had a period alone, and then she got married.
And I think it's so important for women to
I didn't like it then. Sorry. Then I
obviously.
hated it in the moment because my dick was. I came on her. Can I say this? I'm sorry, girls. I'm gonna hide. She was in the shower, and I was kind of sitting there on the toilet seat with this man. She didn't do it, and I smiled, and I was so happy for her. But and then I took her toothbrush, and I came on the toothbrush, and I left it there. I kissed her like through the shower, got my clothes, and left like she wanted to. And but I had to leave something behind. I couldn't just like I worked for that fucking fuck. Sorry. But I was so those little power moves that girls need to stay alone
Mhm.
to get it, and then maybe if you feel like you've learned more, and then
And to be honest, I think that's what makes us attractive, right? To have that power to boundaries, right?
I feel so bad for women though. You're 36 and you don't know if you have 1 year left or 5 years left, or you know what I mean.
I can die tomorrow, and anybody can die just tomorrow, and it will be ended with life. That's why it's so important to make it beautiful, enjoy it, explore. And
How do you feel about adoption?
about adoption,
Yeah.
well, I think it's for the people who understand what it means, because you're taking someone, especially if the children are a little bit older, you're taking someone who's already dealt with a lot of trauma, right?
Yeah.
So you need to be to understand what's coming with that child.
Yeah.
So not be fully selfish around it. I think it's a wonderful thing to do,
Yeah, obviously.
and I have acquaintances who adopted children, and I think it's amazing
Yeah.
and very courageous also.
It is.
Um,
But also like it's you can take a child that a baby and adopted, and it's the same thing. In the end, I think, guys, and let's be honest here, Anna doesn't have to approve, but either you think your genes are so fucking special that it's that's your kid and you're made of that, and you, or you can let go of that, especially if you're in a position to not have kids, which some of my friends might be. There's adoption is a wonderful fucking thing, even if it's not. I know it's like I don't need to state this, but it can come with some little things. When I was imagining, just sometimes you want to kill your own kids. I guess I heard from my mom repeatedly while she was choking me. No, my mom's a lovely woman, but you may feel like maybe he wasn't the kid you imagined to be, and then you blame the fact that he's adopted.
It's the same with your own children.
It's not the same, because if especially if that child, I guess you could tell him the right thing to say is you could tell him later, but you might have that, even if it's wrong, if he's suppressing it, you might have that thought like, I don't like this kid, and maybe it's because he's instead of maybe taking some responsibility. I honestly think that some of it is genes, as long as the capacity of the children and the person afterwards, but like most of it is like you have to parent, and it'll be good. So for my girls who might not have children, and I'm thinking of a certain friend right now, it's a wonderful fucking thing. I'm sorry I deviated, Anna,
no,
but yeah, even if you get to that age and things didn't line up and whatever the fuck, it's a wonderful thing too. It doesn't have to be made of you, as long as you leave, and I told you this on the phone too, as long as you leave a person who will make a world a bit better than you did, and maybe, that's all that matters. So chin up.
And eventually you would, like, I know this family, they couldn't have children, and the mother of the first child that they adopted made 2 more children and left them at
the mother of the child. Okay.
So she made 2 more children and left them. So they adopted the other 2 children. So they have the 3 brothers from the same mother who abandoned them. And the children couldn't live a more happier and fulfilled life. And especially the last one was adopted when he was like a few months old. And he's like daddy's boy and this and that. And he's with his brothers.
So there's 6 now?
The 3 of them. So 3.
So how many was?
3 kids.
1 adopted and 2 then afterwards?
No, all 3 adopted.
All 3 adopted?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they're having a beautiful life. Their parents love them to death, and I mean they're adoptive parents. And it's wonderful. Yeah, and
I fully agree. I'm just honest with myself, thinking if I would adopt, if I would have to, and I'm infertile, I would adopt if my girl would want to. But I guess that discussion has to be with your other half too. Huh?
Yeah, definitely. You can't just decide I want to adopt a child, and you're going to have to bear with me through this. Because raising children is hard.
How hard must it be as a woman who you can have kids, and your husband doesn't want to adopt, but you want to care for a life? How hard must it be?
Well, I've seen this episode in some very close people in my life, and eventually they had the child, but they had so many miscarriages, and like over 10 of them. And she was feeling super unworthy as a woman, and she's like, "Oh, I have no purpose in life. I have no," even though she worked and everything, but
there's nothing wrong to just have that maternal side that you satisfies you.
So she was eventually that became a very central and main part of her life, and she was only focusing onto that, and her life was full on miserable and terrible. And then the child showed up, and it was
did it
all
fix
wonderful.
Things?
In what sense?
In the relationship.
I think children, if the relationship has problems, children make it worse.
Yeah, but they had miscarriages. They didn't want to adopt.
No, I mean she
might have, but he didn't want to.
Yes.
So the situation we're talking about. But I don't mean to need it, and maybe that person will see this, so I don't want to offend nobody. But I would. I think a small part of her still resents the fact that maybe if that couldn't have been, she didn't have somebody to care for.
Definitely.
And you feel that even if things got fixed, you know what I mean? Maybe that's part of you a little bit in regards to the person
they
you
didn't
live.
want to fulfill your dreams in a sense as a partner that you have.
In the other sense, I don't find it wrong for the guy to not want it. I don't mean to judge guys. It's it's a weird discussion to have. But if you are like 27, wherever the fuck, or 30, and you're with a girl that's 25, 27, something like that, and you're thinking of bringing, maybe having a relationship, you like this girl, you kind of see like, fuck it, your shit is kind of together, you want to make the next step. You should have this discussion sooner rather than later. It's awkward to have, but if your dynamic is good, if you can have it in a couple of 3 months after you see the girl and you can already envision yourself with her, you can have kind of pass this along, because even if you're 27 now and maybe your relationship will be 3, 4, 5, 10 years before you decide to make it legal or whatever the fuck, if that even matters to you, maybe bring a child into this world. If that might not be the case, I personally know somebody who thought, but it was his cum. He thought he was the shit. His guys didn't float the right way. And that, when you come from this ego as a man, especially because cum means everything to you, right? Girls can't experience that, but they know. That must be like a mind fuck. Like you want a family and you're like, oh, I'm ready and whatever the fuck, and then you can't have the kids.
Yeah, it's very damaging for men's ego and self-confidence, and I understand.
So you might want to have that discussion sooner rather than later, just to see where her perspective is. That now she might change, even if you were, in that situation, and attachment might make her lean towards you in a few years or whatever. But that's not a guarantee. At least a starting point.
But usually at around 30, you know already if you want or not children, I would say. So yes, it's very important to have that discussion early in the relationship. I've been in a relationship where he wanted children so bad, and
that's stereotype.
He was bringing it up so often. I would start to have panic attacks. I was like, just stop. Stop.
That's because you wanted a mature man, but it was also a mature man who wanted kids at that time.
No, I didn't want any children at any point of my life, but he wanted children.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like you liked him as a mature man. Because I have this group with girls, but she was younger, obviously. She knows more now. I have this group with girls because some girls are instinctively drawn towards more mature men, but
that comes with
the cost. Yeah. It does come with the cost, and maybe it's not kids right away, but maybe it's maybe he's more invested in his career and he doesn't have time to go out so much, or maybe sometimes he needs a space and you're used to this cuddly kind of thing, or maybe whatever the fuck, and you go into that shit, then it hits you like a train wreck because you're not expecting this already. You like the advantages of being with a man who knows how to take you, like we talked about all these years, knows when you want to be treated as a whore, maybe sometimes when you don't really realize you need it, but then he's cool and he's calm and waits and has a purpose and inspires you and all that shit. That comes with a cost. And sometimes that cost is a fucking kid. And it hits a lot of girls like a train. Like they don't even expect, like, well, and like she said, you want all that shit, you want to break up, but then it becomes this claustrophobic. That's why she got panic attacks, right?
Yeah.
Because you feel like, I want this to go on, but I don't want this right now. So you can feel that fucking...
So I was like, I want you to be happy. I want myself to be happy. And to be honest, children are not something to compromise on.
No fucking way.
Don't make children just because...
Guys, sometimes you give into this shit because she fucking bugs you so much and you're like, don't, dog.
Be honest with her, first of all with yourself.
And also take care of women. Some women, obviously, because some men are shit, some women are shit. But once she says, maybe you don't know if you want to be with her at a certain point, but you're still hanging on. And she asks for kids. And you say, no, I don't know right now.
Yeah. And
maybe pull out a few times. Even if she says she's on the pill. I'm just saying. 27, 30. I don't need to judge no one. I'm just saying. Maybe pull out a few times. Decide what the fuck you want. Because you might be a dad without your...
consent.
Or knowledge. Yeah. And then everybody likes shit. You're an asshole. She's an asshole. The kid will be devastated and probably turn out to be an asshole. And that could have been avoided. All right. You have to tell me when to end because I'll stay. It's 10:30. I am hungry and thirsty, but
okay. Whenever you wanna end, I'm having fun here,
baby.
So
how are you?
It's up to you guys.
Go. Let's take a short break. I can put on some guys. Let's take a 5-minute break.
All right.
And you want to do that in another few minutes, or we can wrap it up.
Up to you. Really up to you.
Listen, future guests of my podcast, I ramble a lot, and when I get excited and talking about all this stuff, I can ramble for hours. So
and I
future
love
guests,
to talk, so.
Okay. Let's take a 5 minutes break, guys. It's gonna be no music, and then we'll come back to you guys after we refresh our drinks. Thank you for tuning in. See you in a little bit. Bisous. And we're back. Thank you for hanging in there. We're better now. We're hydrated. We are tired, all of us, including my girl over here who's giving you the looks like, come on, motherfucker. I woke up at 7. But we'll spend another 10 minutes, 15 with you. Let's see some other things. You cannot get cheated on if you're not in a relationship. Okay. Well,
I like that.
yeah. Well, that's the ultimate defense, right? I can't get hurt. A lot of guys who in Romania are also marrying too early. I know people who are already married at 25, and I believe that's too early for both girls and guys.
Yeah, as we were discussing, 25 is, you don't even know what you want when you're 25, and it also changes through life. You'll never be the same at every age as you
Yeah.
get older. But at 25, you're so like in the unknown. You're so fresh into the world, and you just.
My girl, easy. You're walking on eggshells.
Oh, sorry. How old is she?
How old are you, baby?
Serious? My bad.
No, come on. No, it's not. There's no shame in that.
I
No,
didn't want it to.
she doesn't take offense. I'm making stupid jokes. My girl is a mature woman,
Yeah, that's. I mean, I was.
and she
shocked.
knows
I'm
what the
shocked.
fuck she wants.
I'm shocked.
No, I know. That's why you're shocked.
She's super mature, and I was like, oh, she must be. You
But
know,
she's also a goofball, and she knows when to keep me in check too, and she knows when to hold me tight when I fucking crash.
Isn't that essential?
So there's degrees of it. I love you, baby. If you had these headphones on, you'll also hear me more smoothly.
You can say them again. Wait.
But as a rule, yes, it is too early. It is too early because, and I'm kidding now, but I met my girl when she was 22 and I was younger, obviously. So she agreed then too, like she wouldn't have to have kids and whatever. I'm honestly thinking about it a little bit, but definitely too young. You barely get the taste of life then.
Yeah, obviously.
You need a few years.
But then again, with age, it's not like you're 20, 25, this is an age category, and it stays as, like people are shallow and, don't get life. It's an approximate, it's generalized, and it gets very particular for each and every one of us.
No, yeah, but there is a standard deviation and there is like a central trend. So it's of course, there's cases and cases. If you take it case by case, you're not right about anybody because we all fit all sorts of patterns. She is an independent woman full of money because she found the secrets of those women.
What?
She is an independent woman and full of money. Who? Anna? She never said she was full of money. Because she found secrets of those women. Maybe she earned those fucking monies. I don't understand this.
I mean, I'm a bit confused.
Maybe he's making a reference to the jokes because women keep. I don't fucking know what you're saying. Not all comments make sense.
I don't have a lot of money, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, and I don't have a lot of money either. But yeah, you're stable enough to keep chipping at it. I learned this from I pride myself of having regarding our friend Brian, right? And I pride myself even to Paul. Like sometimes I don't really fully listen because I say the same things, but with my dirty, stupid, unclear, chaotic words, and I don't want to get influenced to steal his manner of speaking. I don't want to, but I definitely learned the little 1% thing more from Brian. Like you guys don't know who Brian is, but I'm sure hopefully if everything goes well, you'll meet him, and I want you to meet him. I think a large part of my audience has a good chance to learn stuff like that. I pride myself on like having my own answers with my stupid little jokes, but when it comes to just kind of building up on that 1%, it helped me. It helped me especially when I started to go on my own. I didn't give myself enough credit, and I didn't believe in I guess in some ways I still do. I still leak on other sides where I'm not consistent enough, but he did teach me to kind of like see it accumulate, the little efforts to have to go towards something, and money will come.
And being consistent and doing your 1% daily, it's all you need to grow.
Yeah. And if you're stuck in a fucking job, make sure you find another thing. You can't just have your job, dude. If you have I was at Procter and Gamble, I was so not satisfied at a corporation. You can't just have that. If it's you pay your bills good, break fucking $10 out of that and build something else. Watch a YouTube video. Find some sort of hobby, dude, or that can lead to something. It doesn't matter if it seems that the market is oversaturated. I picked up a camera the first time in 2013. 2 finance masters didn't even know how to fucking turn it on. I fucking applied it. People make fucking fun of you, whatever the fuck. Well, the corporation colleagues seeing you not being so active in the gossip anymore, and maybe you finding other hobbies. Some of them will piss on you because they know they're stuck there and they don't want to make the effort. So you'll get a lot of teeth from pursuing different things, sometimes even from your loved ones.
Or I was about to say or family, but it's the same.
It's the same. Yeah.
So
But get at it, and then maybe sometimes you'll discover you'll do something. It's still like I answered the girl a few weeks ago. It's still work, but it's more fulfilling. And in the end, guys, your dick will be way harder when you're satisfied with yourself. Believe you me. Women the same. You'll be more sensual, you'll enjoy it more, you'll feel less guilty and like you deserve more. That's earned, kids. It's earned. Anna, it was lovely having you here.
I had so much fun, and thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And
I will
looking forward to.
Now you're living for forever. Where are you leaving for?
Well, hopefully I will be leaving soon. Soon, like in 2 days, hopefully, which will not happen, to the US.
To the US. You're going to stay there a while.
Yeah, I'm staying there as much as I can this time.
Well, hopefully safely. I would like to have you here when you're but even if you're stuck there, even joined by the wonderful presence of the dirtiest mother lover I know, Dave. Even if the both of you, the both of you get together in front of a Skype, I would love to have both of you too. Until Dave gets the chance to visit, and Brian and all the party.
It would be so much fun to be here with Dave.
It would be, and he would bring color to even more.
Definitely, and you two really make a great team together.
I can't wait to have him on. We kept fucking Dave. I mean, if you're gonna see this, like, feel so wrong, so bad, because we always said let's fucking do this, and then my shit fucking went to shit, and then you guys had, and then this whole fucking thing happened. We'll make it happen, buddy. I would love to have you on. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Thank you to Anna for joining, and thank you to my girl for not killing me yet, because she's hungry, and probably everybody here.
And if I may add,
go ahead.
If you're curious what I'm doing in the US and why I'm so keen to go there, apart from wanting to reunite with my boyfriend, go check thefearlessman.com.
Are you going to plug Fearless into I'm supposed to do that.
Well, you can do it after me. I'm a coach for them, and I let you discover. They have online programs. They have also in-person programs, one-to-one coaching. Just go there, check their website, and hopefully I'll see you around.
Well, since you brought it up, I was going to introduce Fearless as soon as Brian was able to chat with me in the podcast. But one of my clients, and one of the reasons I still blabber in front of your face and gave me a chance, is because I met the Fearless team. It's a bunch of people, guys who make nice guys not be so nice anymore and enjoy life more and get women. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking the same fucking thing I was thinking when I heard about them. And they're like, what you doing? You're doing fucking pick up and like 10 lines to pick up a fucking woman. And I was like, all right, bullshit artists, right? But it isn't so. This dude is, and his team, and also Dave and everybody, all the coaches. First of all, we fitted perfectly as a work team. I have my bullshit. I understood what they do. They do a mix of psychology and kind of like, how would you call it, embodiment, like kind of things to kind of feel your body more, so that you are more relaxed. You're more tense than you think. That's why me and Paul were making all those your asshole has to be loosened jokes back in a few podcasts ago. It's because of that, right? Like, so they teach you to it's a very good way of people who at least think that they're admit they have an issue, if they have an issue. If it doesn't mean you have to have an issue, but if you want to work on something on yourself, it doesn't have to be an issue.
Yeah, and it can. What they do is they don't just specialize in dating. It's finances, profession, your relation with your family. Why not? There are parts that are designed especially to make those relationships better.
Yeah.
And of course dating, but also your own sexuality. It's like so many things going on in the company. Just go to the website, The Fearless Man.
You know what? Fuck that shit, dude. How about you go to the Fearless Man YouTube and you see some of my work as a producer there. Not everything, because I want to. The really shiny looking clips, you can see my work there, and definitely take one of their seminars. At least, even if you're curious, they have some entry level shit. When they hopefully get back in Bucharest, because they do it all over the world. I'll probably be there too. I'm the video producer, so you can have the chance to chat with me too. But I'll keep you in the loop. I just wanted to introduce Brian before, but I'm glad Anna brought it up, because with this fucking COVID bullshit, I don't know when I would have gotten him. Definitely check it out, The Fearless Man on YouTube. It's serious shit. I present things in a humorous way. I go to all sorts of goofy places. I go to self-deprecation a lot, and the more sarcastic of you will probably roll your eyes in the beginning, but the younger ones of you who are more into like this type of talk me and Anna had, where it's not just dick jokes and maybe we get in deep into some subjects, definitely check them out. And I'm sure a lot of my audience will like a lot of their shit. That being said, you can catch Anna there too, teaching and having doing some work. And hopefully in the future we'll have them here too. Yeah, okay, for the last time, that being said, Anna, thank you for being here.
Thank you again for having me.
And you guys have a lovely evening. Peace.